right, everybody. Welcome to Thursday Night Forum. Listen, it's been a couple of weeks. I've been away on holiday, on vacation, and enjoyed myself. But now we're back. I want to do a podcast, Stan. So, Stan, I want to do and welcome Stan. Pull up a chair, Arsenal fan circle, all that good stuff. Pull up a chair. You're all welcome. Stan, how are you doing?
All right, Ray. Yeah, not too bad. Considering what happened football-wise, but it's nice sunny weather over here in Vancouver, so can't really complain. But looking forward to getting into it tonight.
Yeah, look. Before I left, we had just beaten. We just finished the job off against Real Madrid. So maybe a word or two about Real Madrid. But the difference between Real Madrid and PSG, we're going to talk about it tonight. But we did. First of all, Stan, let's real quick talk about Real Madrid over the two legs. What were your thoughts on that one?
Well, good job, done exceedingly well. Nice and clean job. No controversy. Yeah. There's nothing that anyone can say. Well, you got lucky here and you got lucky there. And this is a good team. They may have some trouble at the moment playing together, but as individuals in a team, this team costs a lot of money. These are world-class players playing in that team, and I thought that we've done exceptionally well. Considering that we don't even really have a nailed-on striker as such.
Yeah.
To have gotten this far, where coming out of the transfer window, it was all hands on deck and big panic. Gabriel Jesus goes down. And then on the back of that, we get Havertz going down, and it's like, what are we going to do now? And we've made a vast improvement. I mean, if you look at since we've been back in the Champions League, the first time out, we got as far as the quarterfinals. I thought it was a very good showing, considering it was our first time back, getting out of the group as it was then with the old format and getting to a quarterfinal. I thought, well, this is promising. And now here we are. We've improved on that, and we've managed to get ourselves into a semi-final, and we're looking quite strong. So I just want to say as well, all right, Gary, thanks for coming in.
Hello there, Stan. Hello, Ray. Everybody in the chat. Hello,
Gary. Thanks for joining us. It's been a couple of it's been a minute since we all got together on the Thursday Night Forum, and I just wanted to go back to the Real Madrid performance and recap that one very quickly. Gary, your thoughts over the two games against Real Madrid before we get into PSG.
Well, we took advantage of everything we got, right? I mean, I figured we could lean on our defense and we'd be fine. I think our defense held up pretty strong against them, and that's one of the reasons why we were able to get the win. But we actually, with the free kicks definitely helped us. We could have won that first one 1-0 the way the game was going, but I like the fact that we were able to run away with it 3-0 and give ourselves the buffer. And then going on the road, once again, I think our defense held up well. We could have had this thing won in the first game the way we were playing. I think, I guess we'll get into it, but the way we played that first game and the way that we played this first PSG game, there's something different about it. And I don't mean just because we didn't have Partey. I think, we played a little bit differently. I think mentally we played a little bit differently, and it showed. So I think we sound like we were playing with house money, and now we realize we're that close, and then we kind of tightened up a little bit. That's what it looked like. We tightened up a little bit, and guess what? You know what? We have a chance to win something here, and then I think we talked about it a little bit too much instead of just went out there and go get it done. And it didn't look so good that first PSG game, but the defense was solid enough and kept us. They got we got lucky they weren't able to hit some of their shots, and so we have a chance to redeem ourselves for another 90 minutes. So I'm looking forward to that. But that Real Madrid game. Defensively, I thought we had a chance, and offensively we showed we also have a gear in there as well. So I'll take that when it comes. But we're gonna have to lean on our defense once again. I think defensively as a whole, of all 11 players, I think we might be one of the better ones in the that's left in these semifinals defensively. I mean, as poor as we did, right? We're only a goal back, and we didn't give up any goal. We only gave up the one goal. The other
Yeah.
teams on the other side gave up 3 goals. So it comes down to defense.
Yeah.
We have we have that we have that one.
It's definitely I compare to, when you're in school, compare and contrast. Arsenal against Real Madrid, 3-0 in the first leg at home, a great atmosphere, and we grew into that game with the 2 free kicks in the second half, and then we dared to dream 2-0, and Marino steps up with a great finish for the third one, 3-0, and then we're able to basically, as Gary said, lean on our defense in the second leg, keep things quiet, and then we were able to actually go and get a famous win at the Bernabeu. So let's not forget that we did beat them at the Bernabeu, and that's something that Thierry Henry's team did. So that's as good as Arsenal can be. That's the company we can keep, and obviously there's a flip side of it. We have seen Jekyll and Hyde performances from Arsenal this season. So yeah, getting into this game against PSG, it's striking for me. Of the 4 teams, we probably would say we're the outsiders in the competition. Stan, would you agree with that? Or I think we're the outsiders when you look at Barca, Inter, and PSG. What we saw against PSG in this first game.
I don't think so because of what we've done in the semi-final. I mean, we went to the Bernabeu, the current holders, and we were in total control. That's got to give us some sort of favour, some sort of standing. Why should they're the current holders of the competition. And we beat them comprehensively at home and away. That's got to make people sit up and take notice. Surely that's got to shorten your betting odds, right? With the bookies.
Does that mean now the field is very tight, Stan, for you between the 4 teams?
Yeah,
there's not much between.
I know that we haven't really gone into the PSG game, but I don't think there was a lot between us, and the stats actually say that, but we could go into that a little bit later. But for me, seeing how we played against Real Madrid at home and more importantly away in that stadium showed me that our players can take that kind of pressure, that kind of heat. They're no longer looking like rabbits that are caught in headlights. Like, for example, that was it Europa or Champions League game when we went to Porto?
Champions League.
Yeah, we went to Porto, and they looked like rabbits that were caught in headlights. They were sort of like the noise, and Declan Rice got booked within a couple of minutes, which tells you everything that you need to know about being nervous. They seem to have gotten past that, and I just think that what I saw that team do to the current holders gives me faith that it's not over.
Yeah, Gary, how do you take that same question? How do you see the whole context of the 4 teams and the qualities of them?
Well, we're probably as far as experience in these types of games, we are probably at the low end of that one. So
lacking.
That's what, yeah. So, but I think we've playing, last season, with the way we ended the season there, this team they can get into a run if they want to. We've seen it, but no, you know what? For me, at some point, Arteta's just going to have to win the first go. It's not going to have to be we're going to get, why don't we just run all the way through this thing, run through the tape is what I like to say, kind of thing. I mean, as opposed to what's the point of getting this close and not trying to run through it? And he's going to have to get outside of his box, the little box that he likes to keep.
Yep.
There's nothing. We got 90 minutes. There's no we got another game.
There's no tomorrow.
There's no halftime anymore, right? So when there's halftime, you only got 45 minutes left. So I think he's gonna. I hope he takes a chance on a player. Take a chance on a different kind of scheme. Take a chance on something because at some point he's gonna have to do that. I'd rather us lose fighting than try to be nice and pretty and smart about it, and then
dig in rather than dig in and die. Right?
Our team can't play that way. when we try to hold back, we play worse. When we're out there, when we're out there pressing like we have in the past, we love it, all right? So I don't think no, we can't be holding our punches. Essentially, we need to just go out
Yeah.
and start flare, just start throwing blows. Basically, we might
Yeah.
hit some, because I think because as long as we have that defense behind us, I think we're fine. And with
Yeah.
Partey coming back, everybody's talking about PSG. They were missing all these players when we played them the last time. The way we're playing now, that's not the same team we played back then either, right? So I kind of feel like nobody's getting the same team that they played. So they can't look at us back then and say, well, they won 2-0. We can't go, well, we beat them 2-0. We know that's not
Yeah.
the same team. And, we'll see how this goes. They might have to deal with their own injury as well, right? Dembele, even if he's
Hamstring.
back, he might still be a little bit,
Yeah.
if it's a hamstring and it tweaked it, he might come out and tweak it again, or he might not be able to play. So we'll see. We've been dealing with our own injury issues, right? We have to make it through this weekend. If one more weekend to make it through, and then we'll find out. If we can make it through this weekend with no issues, maybe we should give ourselves a better chance. But yeah, I don't know if I answered the question or if I just rambled on. But
No. I mean,
What do you think, Gary?
Somewhere in between, Stan. Right? Somewhere in between, or all of the above.
It's like,
A little from column B.
It's like, what's the question again?
All of the above, Stan. Option B. All of the above. Yeah, listen, PSG, I think, Stan, I think we saw PSG, the team that we were warned about in the first, for me, it was first 25, 30 minutes. And I wasn't even watching the game live. I was listening. I was watching it on, just getting updates on my phone, the overview of the game. And we were cut through like ice, like a hot knife through butter in the first 3 minutes.
So yeah, before I answer your question, and I see we've got a few people now have joined us in the chat box.
Yeah.
I just want to take care of a little bit of housekeeping, if I may. And the first thing I want to say is a big, heartfelt, lots of thoughts going out to our friend, Mr. Tom, who's was taken into hospital. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go into any other details than that. But we all know Tom, so thinking of him, and I hope that he's back on his feet soon. Shout out to people in the chat box. I see Red John's in there, BX Gunner's in there, Miss Melina's in there. Who else we got? And Darren. I've seen Darren for a while.
Yeah.
FIFA Boy Darren's back. Good to see you,
Long
Darren.
time no see, Darren, yeah. FIFA Boy Darren. Yeah.
And also as well, make sure that you've got your pens ready. Competition time as well. 2 tickets to the Champions League final.
There you go.
2 return flights to the destination. 3 nights at a 5-star hotel. And also,
Thank you, Stan.
500 euros spending money is what you can get if this was a really, really big podcast, but we're not.
You had me, man. I was like there. I was about to go grab my pen and everything.
Yeah. Well, yeah, still have your pens ready, but maybe not for such a big prize. Get your pens ready to be awarded comment of the evening.
I was like, I think I'm on the wrong show because they're giving away stuff. But
yeah, I was like, thank you, Stan. It's very generous of you.
I bet Ray was bricking himself. He was like, what?
No, as always with you, Gary and Tony Alonso, never know where this thing's going to go. You know what I mean? So, yeah, welcome, Darren. Welcome, Red John, Miss Belina, and BX Gunner in the house. Hoping the men can learn from the women's team, which had the balls to go to 8-time Champions League winner Leon and shoot them down 4-1. And to what Gary is saying, let's not go down with a whimper next Wednesday. You have to be adventurous at some point in this competition. You have to just go for it and take the bull by the horns and play some attacking, adventurous football. There's only 2 teams that have escaped from a 1-0 deficit from a Champions League semi-final, and one of them is our deadly rivals, the team that shall not be named, um, against Ajax a few years ago. They went on to meet Liverpool in the final, and Arsenal fans got the result that we wanted at the time. But notwithstanding, Gary, they went through at that time. So it can be done. It has been done by two teams, and it has been done by a shit team from down the road. You know?
Uh,
So why can't we do it, Gary?
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. No, I mean 1-0 is nothing. It's who scores that second goal. That's going to be the key.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
have to fight back from 2 down aggregate, but if we have to, we have the ability to do that. So it'd be nice to just go in there and quiet that crowd up pretty quickly, right? So we'll
Mhm.
see. But yeah, I'm looking forward
And
to
like
seeing how we do.
like Stan said, we went to the Burnabout and
Yeah,
we quietened them and we kept the game 0-0 at halftime. There's no reason we can't do this next Wednesday. It's unfortunate we have to wait till the second game on the Wednesday. So
Mhm.
we'll be watching Barcelona and Inter. And listen, Arsenal cannot play the way Barcelona and Inter played. We're not set up that way, but we do need to be a bit more adventurous in this second leg in Paris. So yeah, listen, Gary, it's striking though. Like the two things that can be very big for you as a team: your goalkeeper and your striker. We had that back a few years ago when Bernd Leno was playing well and Aubameyang was scoring goals. PSG now have Donnarumma and have Dembele. So it was sort of a Donnarumma and Dembele double damage there. Um, after 3 minutes, that's the difference in the game, right? The quality of uh, Caracella on the left. Um,
Courage,
for
guys.
me, for me, Declan Rice leaves Dembele, and for me,
Yeah,
that's the sort of fatal problem. And listen, it's a wonderful strike. He does shin it a little bit, and it goes in off the post. And those are the fine margins we talk about, Gary.
true. Yeah, no, I kind of when I watched it, of course, yes, Declan Rice leaves that area open, and that's exactly where Dembele went. But you listen to some other people, and they'll tell you that no, not Declan Rice left to protect Timber, who was struggling. Right, Timber was struggling, and he knows what would have happened if he didn't move over there. But uh, for me, there's also it's the right hand side, so there's Saka and there's Erdogan, and no, they're not back in time. They're
Mm.
chasing, and they have to get back. If that was on the left hand side, it's probably Martinelli's probably got that covered. But on the right hand side, it's Saka coming back. Who I still feel Saka he's doing as much as he can, so he needs support, right? And it sounds like Erdogan is not healthy enough, much less in form. So he's doubly bad for us right now. But I think as a team, you got to know where Dembele is. I don't care where you are on somebody has to somebody has to know where he is. I'm sorry.
You know
You
what I think
know,
happened there, Gary? I think Declan Rice stepped out and he
yeah.
thought to himself, that's okay. Thomas Partey will have me covered. Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
I forgot he wasn't playing.
yeah,
Yeah,
No, mate, you're the six tonight. You're doing that tonight. You can't do that other stuff so much. You got to do that job tonight. And I think that's where the mistake is there. He has to remember when he's playing as a six now, he's got different responsibilities that
yeah.
must
yeah.
be adhered to.
See, who would have been in that position? Declan Rice probably would have been in that position because he would have been rolling back and then saw this
Yeah,
open space and he would have
yeah.
gone to it.
On
That's what he
Partey would
does.
have been holding
He's
the middle.
he's always he's an energizer bunny, right? He's always going to get into middle of things. So he would have saw that and probably come back. But now, as you said, he's got. Think about it. Some people were saying, you know what? He was doing all three roles, right? He was attacking. He was coming back on defense. I mean, like, what were the other two midfielders doing? So, I mean,
Yeah.
you have to put your hands up to him. Put your glasses up to him. He did a good job, but that one, like I've seen our players do this multiple times where they will see the danger and then like go and do what they're supposed to and then go, wait a second, but the danger is there as well. So which one's the worst? I'd rather let Timber bring down KK, whatever his name is, than let Dembele get that shot
Arvidsson.
off by himself, right?
The
At this
space he
point,
had as well.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he could have literally had a giant hula hoop going and 2 pairs of nunchuckers, and he wouldn't have touched an Arsenal player.
Yeah.
That's how much space he had.
He had 8 players around him when he took that shot. None of them
But
close enough
it
to.
was like a wide circle around him, like they were worshipping him.
Yeah, I was crazy. Like, and the shot gets off and it goes, and nobody can see it till it's too late. But
Yeah,
yeah,
look,
no,
it's a wonderful hit from the player. It's not maybe the connection he was looking for, but he had the speed and the pace on the ball and the power, and a thrusting run from midfield, feeding the winger. Timber is, for me, okay. We now know what happened, right? But for me, Timber is handling the winger, Carvacelli. But Rice needlessly goes to double up on the winger, who probably, pre-game, Mikel Arteta said this is a winger who's very dangerous, and we need to be right. We need to be doubling up on him. But
and I hate. I know you're saying it, but I have a feeling Arteta's saying it too. Nah. What did Timber just do in the last 2 legs, right? In the quarterfinals, what did he do?
he's
Right.
locked down
So why is
Vinicius
he coming
Junior.
to this game all of a sudden? He's concerned.
Yeah.
He looks scared. I have this feeling this is one of those where Arteta just talking these guys too much. No,
Well, on the
you know
flip
what?
side,
It shouldn't be what they're going to do to us.
right.
Not
No,
anymore.
On the
no,
flip
what
side, they
we're going to
double
do
up
to
on
them.
Saka. On the flip
No,
side, they
no.
double up on Saka. We don't have anyone of that quality.
Would any of you two done anything different with the starting lineup that went out? And obviously,
Oh, yeah.
we've got hindsight a little bit, but
Hindsight, yeah.
but before hindsight, did you look at the team sheet and would you have done something different?
Well, I will tell you. I'll go first. Sorry, Gary. I will tell you. First of all, I'm thinking because I'm traveling and I get on the bus. Where's Partey? Is Partey injured? What's going on here? And then a little bit of digging, a little bit of research. Oh, of course, he got that second yellow, a needless second yellow, mind you.
Very needless.
Yeah. So where's Partey? And then I'm thinking, okay, now we've moved many pieces on the board, and I thought that maybe Trossard would
Obviously,
be.
without Partey, you think your next choice is going to be Jorginho, right? But he's out as well. So
Well,
what are we going to do?
Unfortunately, it's Mikel Mourinho who's coming back from playing well against Real Madrid. Didn't he have 2 assists? He had 2 assists at the Bernabeu.
3 GA in the quarterfinals.
Yeah,
And
yeah. A goal in the home leg, Gary, and 2 assists in the away leg. He sets up Saka's goal, and he sets up Marinelli in injury time to win famously the Bernabeu.
Yeah.
And what do? We bring that player who has a physicality, who has actually put up some good numbers in the 10 or 12 games he's played since coming on at Leicester. And, we move all of the chess pieces around again.
Exactly. What I'm saying is, right, why did we need to for one person being out, why did we have to move so many pieces? Because for me, I mean, I could never thought I would be saying this 10 months ago. Mikel Mourinho is doing the job that he's filling in for. I don't know how long it's going to last and if it's going to one day just run out. But so far, he's putting up decent numbers for the position that he's been playing in, and you got to take your hat off to him. When he first joined Arsenal, and I watched him play at the first few games, I wasn't sure. I did have my doubts, but this recent transition and also some of the games that he's had in midfield, also, he's definitely, to me, he does look like a player that shows that he belongs to play for Arsenal. That he's not below, he's not sub that. He looks like, he can play for Arsenal. But I don't understand why we had to move so many pieces to move that one. I mean, is there not an argument that obviously Declan Rice is going to have to move to that? Well, he could move to the 6. What about Zinchenko? You've come in next to Odegaard. Could we? I mean, we've got a plethora of left backs. Could we have not done something with Miles Lewis Skelly in the midfield? Could Rice not have played in that
And
eight?
you know what I was thinking about,
in that
Scott?
eight, in that
Yeah.
eight position that he's been doing really well at. So that's another chess piece that doesn't have to get moved. And what you do is you just slot in Skelly, who's very strong. He's very good at using his body. And I think he kind of played a defensive midfield role at youth level. I might be wrong. I never watched him. It's midfield. I'm sure that. Why couldn't we have thought of something like that? Because as you say, Ray, we've got to take one guy out in Partey. For some reason, we're moving so many pieces for that.
At least two or three other positions, right? So what that means? Okay, Thomas Partey with a yellow card misses the game. Declan Rice is not an 8 in this game; he's a 6, right? Mikel Merino has got to come in and play where he's playing in midfield. Odegaard, people have been talking about in the chat box about forget his name. Martin Odegaard, right? And,
is he playing that bad, Ray? He's that bad that you can't even remember our captain's name.
well,
that Norwegian geezer.
Isn't that what they say? Play for the shirt. If you play well for the shirt, your name will be remembered, but you might temporarily be forgotten.
I was going to say, with all the moves we did, we basically weakened 3 positions.
Yeah.
We weakened our 9, or our false 9, or inverted 9, whatever you want to call it. We weakened our 8. We weakened our 6, and then we wonder why we struggled through the middle. All right, why we struggled in this game. I mean, Arteta, I wanted least amount of changes. Least amount of changes would have kept Moreno up top, and then make him move with. Just put another defender in, like you said. It could either be Zinchenko. It could either be White. If White starts that game and gives us 30 minutes, right? Even if he gave us 30 minutes, for example, right, and we pull him into 30. No, but say he gave us 30. If White gives us 30, whoever he trusts, if he gives us 30, we've got 2 more subs to replace him, right? And still 2 subs on extra to get through this game. Arteta didn't want to do that. He wanted to stick. He wanted to, like Trossard. I've said this multiple times. He can't give us 3 good games in a row. And guess how many good games he gave us in a row? 2. And then the third one was this one. It wasn't going to happen. He wasn't going to, the games. He's just not consistent enough for us, and he didn't really produce for us. Then you've got Erdegaard, he doesn't produce for us. I mean, then you're asking Saka to still, play outside of, what his body can commit to. And now we're struggling. So, this one, Arteta needed to trust the guys he got, and people think where he should have maybe even started this game, because what is it? Erdegaard is not pressing like he used to. Not in this game, he didn't press, right? So if he's not pressing, then what off the ball? Then what is he doing? Because on the ball he's terrible, right? On the ball he's terrible. Off the ball, what is he doing for us? And if and where he's in there, at least when you put the ball at his feet, he's a danger, right? You saw what he did in extra time. He came in as the clock went 90, right? And what he did in the 5 minutes he played is produce, a chance, and Martinelli screwed it, right? Messed it up.
Yeah.
So if he would have gotten maybe 30 minutes, who knows what would have happened, right? I just feel like at this point you got to trust the players you got, and when the players aren't performing, Erdegaard's not performing for us. I don't think so.
No. Didn't you mention something? Maybe
you need a goal. You don't bring
injury, Gary. Maybe he's carrying.
If he's got an injury, that's another reason. Look, he can't. Come on. Come on. If he's got an injury, why are we playing him?
But all players play with some sort of injury.
No, his is detrimental. He can't do the things we need. Like, it's one thing to play within yourself. Like, he's not. What is he doing to go? All right, he's playing with it. Like Saka's playing with injury. He's still. They're bringing 5 guys to him, and he's playing on a bum leg. 5. There's a picture. There's a picture of him, and there's 5 blue shirts.
Making the geezer sound like Long John Silver.
And then and Erdegaard, they're like, do whatever you want, because you're probably gonna mess it up, kind of thing,
Odegaard should be playing like Bruno Fernandes plays.
He's not like Bruno Fernandes. He's not like De Bruyne. I don't know what he's like.
Yeah.
So
Frank Bruno.
Yeah.
So he's
Yeah,
not doing.
Arsenal's not a counter-attacking team
I
like
think
Liverpool.
as we've just hit the half an hour mark, right, and we're already like straight into the Odegaard chat. I thought that might have lasted. I thought we might have got there a little bit later, but no, we're in there right away. I've got to say that I think it's become an elephant in the room now, and it's almost a little bit like for the last few weeks, I've been looking at his performances, and I've been going sort of like, okay, all right, no, it's okay. You know, he'll do something. He'll look good in training, and he'll do it. He'll come back next week. Next week's the one. The next week comes around, and you're like, okay, no, all right, no. A little good, nice little pass I saw. They were trying to find stuff, and there was one pass that I saw, but yeah, next week, because he done really well when he went away with Norway. Apparently, he had like a hat trick of assists, and I was like, okay, right, yeah, this is it. He's gone away with Norway. Something's clicked. He's got a hat trick of assists. Comes back and plays the next game. You're like, oh. And now I'm at the stage where I can't do that anymore. Unfortunately, I just can't do that anymore. And I think that we're at the stage now that if I was the manager, I'd be like, this geezer needs to be trying to work his way back into the team from the bench. It's as simple as that. It's still part of the team, but I can't start you anymore right now.
So what?
You know, you got to work harder in training or whatever. I'm not saying work harder. Maybe he's working hard, but you got to come off from the bench and earn your way back in. Because I've got people on the bench and they're ready to go. Ethan, I'm looking at you. The guy's ready to go. He has zero fucks. Ethan Waneri doesn't have a care in the world.
Yeah.
He's at that age where he doesn't have a care in the world, and he's hungry. He's hungry for it. And those are two things. You put those two things together. You know, he's going to come on. He's not going to shrink like a violet. He's like, give me the ball. I'm going to try and make something happen, and I'm going to move the ball forward. I'm either going to put you through, or I'm going to shoot at goal. And that's a nice thing to have because Odegaard's not doing that. You know, those lofted passes from the right-hand side, those lofted passes that have no weight, no pace behind them. I've seen this so many times, man. That lofted pass. Why don't you try something different? So. And also physically, I mean, he's beginning to look more like Macaulay Culkin, for fuck's sake, with that bum fluffing he's got. You know when he got a bit older, Macaulay Culkin, and he looked like he was doing crack, and he had that sort of like whistly sort of stubble. He's beginning, and I don't mean to dig him out and that, or maybe I do, I don't know, but it's just not working, is it, at the moment? And I'm like, well, you know, if he is playing with an injury, personally, I would be like, you know what? Do some stuff off the bench and that, but let's actually try and mend you. Let's actually try to fix you. Let's actually try to get you to get back to how you can play at your best, because this is not good enough. It's not good enough.
Yeah. You've mentioned some things there, Stan. And listen, we all have to practice Red John's pronunciation of Kvaratskhelia. Say that 3 times to yourself, Red John. I dare you.
Can I caveat? Everyone remember, I'm a big fan of Odegaard. You know, when we paid that loan fee and got him, I was extremely happy. And I think he can be a great footballer. But this season, and I said it in the chat box of Not Another Arsenal podcast when I was listening to them last night. And it was tongue in cheek, and they were talking about Odegaard, and they were saying, like, you know, well, he's just had a baby, and you know, having a baby, it keeps you up at night. I'm not a father, and I said in the chat box, I said, look, if I was playing for Arsenal, my newborn was keeping me up at night so that I couldn't play. That baby would be in a basket on the doorstep of the nearest orphanage. It's Arsenal.
Damn.
You know what I mean? It's Arsenal.
Why couldn't the baby be in the far corner room?
Stan would be at the orphanage.
Why couldn't
Stan would be at the orphanage going, I don't know why she kicked me out. And it's like, no, you know what?
Obviously, I don't.
Here's the other.
Yeah,
but here's the other side to that. All right, here's the other side to that. You're a new dad. All right.
Yep.
Now you have another reason to step out the door. All right. Now you have another reason to go to work, and his job is to play football for Arsenal Football Club. Right. Now you have this extra incentive to actually go out there and show what you got. So, like, there's the whole negative side of it, which some people are going to say baby's keeping him up at night. He's got to change nappies. He's got to make diaper runs and all this kind of thing. But then the other side of it is, what about like showing up for, showing for your kids? Look, because you see it all the time, right? A footballer will come out and and play, they'll score a goal. And what do? They'll stick their finger in their mouth. There's, put the ball underneath their shirt. All these things, because guess what? There's, he's not he's not doing any of that stuff. So he's not coming like and I DWTT. I say it all the time. Don't waste a trip, dude. You're going to work. Why don't you go out there and make? Don't waste it. Don't waste this opportunity, dude. Right? He's wasting it right now. Because you know what? You're playing Real Madrid for 2 games. Everybody's expecting him to come out and do what? Show them why they made a mistake. Guess what he did? Showed them why they didn't make a mistake. Right? Like of all
Yeah.
the players that played in both of those legs in Real Madrid, he's not
And
he's sitting towards the bottom of that list in terms of what I think we saw contributed to the wins that we got. Right, as far as like what he's not doing for us, and if he's playing with an injury, I think that's Arteta, just doing really bad stuff. Right, if he has to have surgery for him to get right, then bring somebody else in. You've got Nweri, who at least
And
maybe you have to worry about the defense with him, but you
Our
don't.
bench,
do you think this is the
offense. So
beginning of that, guy, Gary? This is like the first little sample of that because
If we-
I've been
if
waiting
he-
for this, and on 85 minutes, he finally conceded and did it, didn't he? He took Odegaard out and he brought in Nwaneri. Obviously, he should have done that a lot earlier. But do you think that this is the start of something? And maybe in the next game, he either comes on earlier, or maybe starts ahead.
If Nweri doesn't start in the next game, against Bournemouth, right?
right.
Then no, he hasn't learned a damn thing.
Yeah.
He hasn't
Now
learned
that
anything.
could be through
He
resting
needs
the
he
players.
needs to start. He needs to come out there and Nweri, you got 45 minutes, 60 minutes to show me what you got. And I'm pulling you more because I want you to get out there and get your feet wet, but then I also want to save you and maybe use you in the next match, right? That's how that conversation should go. Tierney, you need to come out and give me some minutes. And as you said, Zinchenko and White, all those 4 players should contribute to hopefully what is a win at PSG, because all they can help us, right?
Yeah.
And they would have helped us in this match. Once we saw what happened in those first 20, 30 minutes, it's like, can we pull somebody or can we change what we're doing? Eventually, he changed some things and let the 3 players that we know can handle the ball in this type of situation, being Skelly, Rice, and Saka. I think they lost a lot of balls, but it was that type of game. But I feel more comfortable letting the ball go to the feet of Skelly, Rice, and Saka in the game.
Yeah.
And then until things settle, once things settle down, everybody's okay. But at that point where things were a little scattergory, everybody running with their heads off kind of thing, get the ball to your best ball handlers. And that would be, you saw how many times Skelly went to the ground when they try to, get around him and stuff like that. That's what he does. Saka comfortable on the ball, and Rice, I think, is really good as well. So that's what we needed to do. Go to your best, and you can't even go to Erdogan with this, right? So that's the part. He's supposed to be able to handle this type of stuff as well, but he can't. So, I think those 4 players need to contribute in the next game. He needs to have some serious player management, like his best all around. Like, does he start everybody that he started outside of Partey? Does he start everybody, or does he actually make a significant change for the better? Because PSG is going to come out.
Lots of PSG will come out. Lots of decisions for the weekend for Bournemouth. If you're going to rest Odegaard, are you going to play Ethan Nwaneri and give him?
I keep saying play him so he can get his feet wet, get his mojo back.
And
we've
here's
been trying that. We've been trying it for months now.
Yeah.
Did you notice as well? I think it was 2 games back during the course of the game, Arteta made some substitutions, and it was something else that I've been waiting to see if it will ever happen. He brought on Tierney, and he moved Skelly into the midfield. It was near the end of. I think it was not the last game. The game before.
So was that might have been the Ipswich game, which I didn't see, right? But I didn't see that game.
So again, I'm wondering again whether this is something that we might see a little more of, right? Because I mean, if you look up Skelly on which I did because I've never watched him as a kid, right? It says his position. It says predominantly a central midfielder, capable of playing in both attacking and defensive roles.
Yeah. Well, Arteta read the same paragraph you wrote, and he and
Well,
defensive
I read that
really
out.
resonated with him. Defensive role really resonated with Mikel Arteta.
Someone was
in
like,
that
Mikel
situation.
Arteta, what position does Skelly play? He's like, fuck, what position does he play? Wikipedia. He
We
plays
found our
predominantly
left back.
as a midfielder in an attacking and also defensive role.
Yeah, we found our left back for the future. That's what he's thinking to himself. BX Gunner, Gary said, Zinchenko and Miles Lewis Skelly should have been in midfield, not Mourinho. I was wondering if we should have experimented with Miles Lewis Skelly in midfield, but apparently Stan just referenced the Ipswich game, which may have been.
Experiment. He's a baller. That's all he is. Put him on the pitch, tell him what to do. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Put him back in his position of preference. You don't have to. What do you? He should know what he has to do.
Yeah.
Right? It's been he's been doing for like the last 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Playing in that midfielder role. Why? Like there's not much you have to like. The way that my understanding is, what they do in the academies is supposed to help them get ready for what they see in the first team. If that's so, not much you have to tell him, right? He's shown that. Guess what? Has he ever played in left back? No.
And that resonates with me.
Did he do anything wrong there? No. For his age,
yeah.
No, he's not doing anything. He's actually he's overachieving, and we need to be overachieving.
And that
he's doing it so well. He's doing it so well. His country deemed he can do it for them as well.
Yeah. Tommy Tickle likes him as well.
Exactly, Tommy Tickle loves him. I mean, that's quite a good accolade to get, really. You know what I mean? You're not even playing your natural position. It's your first season. You're basically a pup in the game. Do you know what I mean? In your age, and now all of a sudden you're on your debut, you're scoring and getting the man of the match, and you're just like, what's going on? What is happening? It's like, this is what I was dreaming about when I was lying on bed looking at posters of Ian Wright. I didn't think
the kid has been through a lot in this season already, which wasn't meant to be the case.
Just while I've got it here, right? I've got the stats here for that PSG game. Okay, and it's extremely tight, right? So Arsenal had 10 shots, PSG had 11 shots. 5 of our shots were on target, so that's the 50%. 4 of theirs were on target. Possession, we had 47%, they had 53. Not really a lot in that. Passes, we had 389, they had 438. Pass accuracy, ours was 83%, theirs was 85%. We both committed 15 fouls, both got 2 yellow cards.
Right.
So there wasn't really a lot in it. I've been looking at.
You have to remember. Yeah, I was going to say the stats you're talking about. If you remove the first 20, 30 minutes of those stats, guess what?
We're better than them.
Yeah. I mean,
the way I characterize that one,
Donnarumma is a very good goalkeeper, right? I think he's world class. I think probably for
the best goalkeeper left in the competition.
4 or 5 editions of the FIFA football game, when I play my career mode, I always buy him as my goalkeeper. I just think he
is probably the best goalkeeper.
But I seem to remember in that game that he had to make some saves. He wasn't leaning up on a goalpost reading the newspaper. He got worked. Right? And on another night, maybe we get it right. And and not only the ones that he saved, there were some ones that went a little bit wide as well. And it was the same for David Raya. That first, I think when people say, the crowd was flat, they didn't get behind the team. I look at it that when I was watching it, from the beginning of the game, the team's coming out and the game starting, there was an atmosphere in that crowd. There was an atmosphere. But then even in the pub that I was in, and the pub wasn't packed, there were people there to watch the football, but it wasn't like packed. But when that goal went in, it happened so quickly, it kind of sucked everything out of the room.
Yeah.
It happened so quickly. And I think that's what happened in the stadium. It sucked all of it, and everyone's like, and while you're still thinking about it, the game's continuing and it's now gone quiet. But also as well, if you want the crowd to be loud, then it's up to the football team to do things that make you get on your feet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm getting at? It's a
George Graham used to say that. Yeah.
Two-way street. Do you know what I mean? You've got to get the crowd. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right walking around and not doing the press, and then when the ball goes out, you look at everyone and start waving your arms about because I'll just be looking at it. But you're the problem here.
Yeah,
not a problem.
I think You're exactly right, Stan. And both of you characterized the game in very different ways, but saying the same thing. And what I would say is that PSG started off so well. They had
Very
basically the
quick.
99% of the possession. We had 1%. And that, as the game wore on, those stats became closer and closer together to be an even game. You know, and you're right, Stan. The atmosphere was there, but every Arsenal fan in the world is watching that game because it's the biggest game of that we can remember probably in many many years. Um,
Yeah.
we didn't expect it to pan out and start like that, and the air of all Arsenal fans around the world went out of the stadium, went out of the room, went out of the kitchen, went out of the bus, wherever you're watching the game from, and it just wasn't meant to go that way, Gary. And we were flat for 15, 20, 30 minutes after that. And
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
and they
Yeah.
grew.
Definitely got punched in the face, right? I mean, got punched in the face, and we didn't have enough. We didn't have enough people on our side to wake up and go. You know what? We got this. And Rice is doing that, right?
Yeah.
We're, and this is where, yes, this is where this whole leadership comes in. Part of it, the game. He's trying to get these guys to at least stop worrying about that goal and let's move on and get back to business, right? And everybody else is probably still worrying about that goal going in when in fact we need to score now. So
What do you do in a boxing match when you're hit in the face? You don't want to take any more damage, right? You protect yourself. You don't want to take a fatal blow
yeah, but
that's
you
going
need
to put
to
you to
or
the
you
ground.
protect yourself so you can get back into the fight, or else you're going to get knocked out.
Yeah,
And if you
yeah.
just guard, you guard against your, if you just put your guard up for the entire match, the entire fight, you lose,
You lose
right?
on points.
You lose. So we got hit in the mouth. We didn't really come out enough. Arteta didn't made changes to soften the blows essentially, but
Yeah,
didn't make changes to get back and try to win this thing. Right? He
yeah.
didn't make any moves to get us to win this thing. We need a goal to score. What do you
Uh,
want to do?
well,
This doesn't
many
change
have said
anything.
so. Many have said something. There was a tactical maneuver in the 20th minute
That
where
was just to get out, get
get a
to
foothold.
respond to the way that they were performing, as opposed to
Yeah,
getting ourselves back into our game, right? So I mean, I think everybody was saying, if I listened to this correctly, nobody expected them to come out there and do that, the pressing that they did. It kind of threw us off a little bit and put us under pressure. I mean, if you remember, we couldn't get the ball out of our own half, right? And if we
No.
did get it out, it was long balls being kicked into the wrong team or out of bounds, right? Nobody wanted that ball. This is where you
hot
look in the
potato.
middle. You look in the middle of the pitch, and it's Partey sitting there saying, "Give me the ball. Let's move this thing up." Nobody wanted to do it. Rice is only one man, and when he didn't have the ball, it was scary where that ball was gonna go. We messed, every time it looked like they were gonna be on the counter inside our half, not even at midfield.
We
In our
survived.
defensive third.
And to make it worse, we're kicking it from right back to the goalie to the central defender to the right back to the goal. I'm like, it's going to go tits up in a minute. Any minute now, it's just going to get snapped.
Um,
They're like literally in the park
but
having heart attacks when they do that shit.
this,
I hate it
this,
when they do that. I hate it when they do that shit. I really don't like it.
but
It's no good to my
this
heart.
is top level. This is top level football. This is the levels that Gary talked about, and there's a few more levels to go through for this Arsenal team because of injuries, because of the
Hate it.
players that we have in the squad. Some of them are not good enough. Some of them are not going to be good enough for a semi-final of a Champions League. And when we need to look to the bench, we need to have 5 or 6 players that can come in and do a job, and not have players who, we don't recognize who they are. Many fans don't recognize who they are. One area is one of those guys, says Red John, who doesn't care about pressure. He's a little like Yamal in that sense. He doesn't have nerves, and it's striking them.
They've got no cares in the world, and they're hungry as well.
And
They're
Miles
hungry.
Lewis Skelly, we just talked about him. These young players, and maybe that's something we need to lean into with Miles Lewis Skelly. Why don't we put our players in dangerous positions like Mick Mourinho? Okay, we're going to get Partey back. We survived the first round here. Uh, Only one knockout punch to our face. We got slapped one time. Gary, we didn't get slapped the second time because I feel we were lucky with the penalty decision on Timber. That's
Oh,
my take.
yeah, and I think the referee as a whole was not. We're lucky that he was so bad,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
lucky that he was so bad because
Yes.
it could have gotten worse if he had done anything out of order, like he would have given them more opportunities in certain cases. They would have got that penalty. They're up 2-0, and what are we doing now? And he's got a yellow, and maybe we have to pull him. He didn't get a yellow. You believe that? And then who gets
No.
their yellow? Saka gets a yellow for not for supposedly kicking the ball away when the whistle was blown when he didn't even foul the guy. So like everything
Yes.
about that whole sequence was bad.
And I saw
so we-
Donnarumma. I saw Donnarumma gets a Ben White elbow, a Roach's elbow to the
and
side,
yeah,
and he
you know what?
falls over.
You see what he didn't even. I mean, from one view, he didn't look like he touched him, but from the other view, you can see Ben White does leave
So,
leave a little something on him.
Gary,
So I
I'm
mean, he goes
thinking
down
it's
too
saying,
easy, though. He goes down too easy. The same reason
Right.
why, right? They said whoever went down very easy, and they weren't going to call it, and they didn't call the penalty today in some of the games. Donnarumma went down a little bit too easy
Yeah.
there, but
I've
Ben White
also
definitely left something there.
So, Gary, I'm thinking you're saying we got away with that penalty decision, right?
Definitely got away with that, and he was so inconsistent and bad. So we got, it was lucky it went both ways. I think. I mean, for us, a lot of times 50-50 balls, we weren't getting them. It was going their way. That one we got away with, and you know what? I'll take it because, if he gets a red card, he's out the next match, right? So, in reality,
And
it
it
probably
does
worked
seem
out
like
for us.
we're leaning into Urian Timber as well as our best
There was a
fullback.
period of time in that game where I was watching Timber. I'm like, you're trying to get yourself sent off. It's like Mr. Grab Your Hand. He's became Mr. Grab Your Hand.
He had 5 fouls in the first
everybody.
10 minutes. I mean, come on.
I've never seen him do that.
At some point, like if you're gonna go after Partey, if he's gonna go after Partey for doing that stupid yellow, Rice should have been
And
going after Skelly.
they went
Guess
out.
what? I got you covered. Stop. All right.
Yeah.
Stop.
They-
Give him the space that he needs, and we'll squeeze him out. But don't do that anymore. You're killing us, right?
Part of why PSG have improved, they went out and bought Kvaratskhelia in January. Arsenal, as we know, did nothing, zero.
Say it right.
So we'll get into pint half full, pint half empty. But Stan, do you agree it was probably a penalty against Urian Timber?
He was lucky to get away with it.
Yeah,
I just say that. I think he was lucky to.
If that happened to Saka in their box, we'd want the penalty, right?
Oh yeah,
100%.
I'd want it if it was Saka outside of the box as well.
Yeah, advance it 10 yards, ref.
Send them all off.
It's in the rule book, ref. Come on, advance it 10. Oh, it's a penalty. Yeah. Jeez.
I think that I honestly think that we've been given pundit-wise and fan-wise, their analysis of the actual game. I think it's been a bit harsh on Arsenal, to be honest. I think it's been quite harsh. It's only half time. Yes, it's nice just to be able to score at home, and we didn't do that. There's none of that away goals or nonsense anymore anyway. It is half time. And we went to the Bernabeu and we didn't hide. So we've shown that we can be up for big occasions.
Have that in us.
So just have faith. Even if deep down inside you might not think it's going to happen, just try and project that kind of aura. Do you know what I mean? It might happen because there's teams that have turned around much bigger deficits than this. Time will tell. Yeah. We'll see the game. We'll see what the tactics are, and
Yeah, I'm going to sing some of the same. I'm going to sing some of the same tune, but say some different things here as well.
And also, there is that caveat that every time in the year that a Pope has died, an English team has won the Champions League.
There you go. All right. And we're the only English team left in the Champions League. When they did the brackets, they had Arsenal going out against Real Madrid. They had Liverpool advancing against Aston Villa. Well, guess what? Aston Villa didn't advance either. PSG advanced. And Arsenal are
And I actually understand that the Pope was a gooner, so there's that as well.
Right. Definitely.
I might be making that up. I might have dreamt that. I'm not sure.
So, Gary, there's plenty of things there to be positive about, but there's also things to be negative about. For me, you have to be we've seen traditionally you'll win the Champions League eventually if you're in semifinals, if you're in quarterfinals, or you're in finals for 3 to 5 years consistently. PSG are probably that team that I'm talking about. They've been knocking thereabouts. They have a goal advantage against us, but on the positive side, we have gone to Real Madrid. We're only a goal behind, which coming out of this game, we could have lost at least 2-0 at home. Yeah. And that would be a huge mountain. Anything can happen, right, Gary?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it could have been 3 now, and then we'd be out. But, you know what, like you said, we only have 1 goal back, so we have our chances to get through this.
But this is what we wanted as well. You have to enjoy this as well, Gary, right?
Yeah, and you know what? PSG doesn't need it. We need it. So, you know, just as much as they need it, we need it as well. I mean, we're both getting talked the same way in regards to winning a Champions League. So, you know what? Why don't we try to get it? You know, there's no reason for them to just get it first, because guess what? They've been playing in the Champions League longer than us over the last 10 years. I don't care.
We've come.
You know, we're here now. We should be trying to take this thing regardless of what's going on. So
we've come from playing the likes of Bodo Glimt, no disrespect to them, and other teams like that in the Europa League, to playing and beating Real Madrid, playing PSG and competing against them to the point of where we can rationalize this game is they took their one chance. They had a few chances. They took one of them. We had a few chances, Gary, and we didn't take the 2 chances that we had. Marinelli first, Gary. Yeah,
I know a lot of people said he should have scored that one. I mean, he puts that in the air, he scores it. I mean, I think another time he may put the ball on the ground as well. If he lofts it a little bit, he probably gives himself a better chance to score there. But
it's goalkeeper's waiting for that, right?
I guess his finger's on that one to the far post there and pushes it away. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say yet. No, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, the one that he skies from Nweri, that maybe what I don't know, that one, that was terrible, right? That's all I can say about that.
Mention Martinelli, and most Arsenal fans will give you this reaction.
The question is, did he get lucky on the other opportunities? And what we saw in the last one is really what he's got, right? Because we've seen him score in extra time against Real Madrid, right?
Right.
We've seen him score, so it's not that he's tired or anything. He didn't. I don't think he did. I don't think he even started. He didn't start the last game, right? So I just, I think when we need consistency from some of our players, we're not getting it, right? That's why Nweri needs to get more minutes, because you're going to get good runs from Martinelli, but you're not going to get lots of runs from him where you're like, we need you to play out the rest of this Champions League at your level, like what we saw against Real Madrid. We need to see that for the next 3 matches, and we didn't get it in this one against PSG, right? We needed him to score one of those. I think he had 2 or 3 chances in this one, and he didn't get it, right?
The plain fact is that if you put Martinelli and Trossard together and you combine them, they're still not as good as Bukayo Saka on the right hand side.
Yeah, you just you might get consistent. You might be consistently inconsistent if you put them together. You know what I mean? That's the thing that they have about him.
A negative and a negative.
Yeah,
becomes-
you might just get just poor play all the time as opposed to some good glimpses, right? That's why for me, Trossard cannot start. He's not a starter for us. He can come in and start games for us, but he's not a starter for us.
Yeah.
Like when we want to, if everybody's healthy, he doesn't start every game, like we should, And when I try to kill two lions instead of kill. Like I'd rather him kill, not necessarily kill, but he took out the one main piece we had in that front line
Deflawed.
that we could depend on. Like Saka's not there yet. We know this. Unless you move Saka to the middle of the pitch, like if you watch like in the game.
You love that, Gary. Isn't it? Gary keeps coming back to that. I've noticed he comes back to that a lot. Saka.
You saw Saka move into the middle of the pitch, and because guess what, Erdegaard's not doing it. You saw Saka move into the middle of the pitch, and he's fine with the ball at his feet. So
doesn't it make sense, though, Stan?
So,
doesn't it make sense? Bring Saka away from double team.
But if we're going to keep that same formation and make that change, basically what Gary's saying, right between the lines, is take out Odegaard and there's a space. And Gary's right. We could go either way. We could put Saka in there and have Waneri on the right, or Waneri in there and Saka on the right. Who knows? Maybe we play some sort of thing where they swap during the game. They keep people guessing.
God knows they did that to us, Stan. PSG did that to us.
Definitely an option, but we were talking about Martinelli, and for me, he's a player that again I really want to do so well for Arsenal. I mean, that goal that he scored. Remember that first one of the first goals he scored when he had that breakaway run against Chelsea, and he took the ball up the field and just like haired off like the flash, and scored the goal. But the thing is with him is that when he's playing, he's a very much a heels to chalk player on that wing.
Yeah.
And the way that he plays, it's like he's always got his head down and he just goes for it. It's like he needs to sometimes be able to know what's around him. If he's going to play with his head down like that, then I would suggest maybe giving him some sort of a periscope device that he can, at least see if the pass is on somewhere, because he's so focused, and I think a lot of players are ready for that. And then when he does cut in, it seems like he wants to always go for that Thierry Henry style of goal where you open your body up and call the ball round, and keepers know it's coming.
They do their homework.
Keepers know that is coming.
Yeah,
they know that is coming. The one where he come running at the back post and kind of missed. He had a lot of goal that was glaring.
Yes.
I can kind of forgive a player for that because I've seen better players miss ones. It's about the timing. You got to fling your body up into the air and try and get your toe in there. I can kind of forgive it. But there are some other chances and some other options where it does come a little bit one trick. And my biggest fear about Martinelli is that you got to remember where we got him from, right?
Yeah.
In
Brazil.
In Brazil, I think they are, because I work with a guy that's banging to Brazilian football, is Brazilian, right? Banging to it. We talk about Arsenal players and that. And that's a very low down division that he came from. And my worry is that perhaps he's already plateaued in his level.
Yeah, it seems.
Because, he was playing at an extremely low level. He didn't come from one of the big teams in the first sort of like division of Brazil. He was right down there. Maybe he's kind of plateaued, and then we're going to get these little flashes every now and again. But is it enough to be a first team player? But I can tell you this. I tell you one of the reasons why he gets picked so often. I think Mikel Arteta appreciates the defensive work that he does.
Yep.
Because he does do a lot of good stuff on the defensive side of his game. And I think that Mikel Arteta appreciates that. Whereas personally, I'd rather have a winger like Salah. I think they say to Salah, you don't have to defend so much, do your thing. I'd like to have one of our wingers to have that license. Help out if you can. But you know what I mean? Keep hanging up there. Keep hanging up there a little bit. Because
Mo Salah
do that to you, just go and do that thing that you do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mo Salah does not do that defensive work. And he gets the numbers at the end of the year, each and every.
And it hasn't stopped them winning the league, has it? It's not a hindrance. It's not something where we're going, oh, they finished fourth again. If only Salah would go back and defend, maybe. No, they've already won the league with 4 games to go. So it can be done. You can give someone the light.
Yeah, absolutely. A few quick announcements. Lolo has joined us. So welcome to the show, Lolo from On the Stoop. Secondly, Red John has put a lot of comments in. I am putting stars on the comments. So if you feel like I'm skipping through some things, I will come back and highlight those questions. One of them is about the cannon. We'll talk about the cannon in a little while as well. And the third one is, where's Tony? Where's Waldo? I don't know where Waldo is.
Someone said, where's Tony? But be careful, right? He's like the candy man. If you say his name 3 times, he will appear.
Yeah. I thought that was Alonso.
No, Alonso will be here 5 minutes before we end. Come on, you know the deal.
Yes. The end could be 6 hours from now. It'll still be 5 minutes.
Yeah, no matter when the end of the show is, he'll appear 5 minutes before the end.
Yeah. So, Gary, do you want Martinelli to go near post on that shot?
Probably. I don't know. I just need.
You're just exasperated. Everybody's exasperated by Martinelli.
Yeah, he's. That's why we need somebody else, because he doesn't. He's not going to be the one. He's not scoring those goals, right? He's not scoring those goals. So, what can he do better?
Gary, when you say somebody else, are you talking about selling him in the summer or bringing someone else in and putting him back a little bit in the squad, but keep?
We need to bring in starters. So that's where, if we're going to get the Gyökereses, the Zubamendi's, the Nico Williams, stuff like that, if we're doing that, then we're pushing guys to the bench, which is what we want to do.
Yeah,
right. They're going to get minutes. That's for sure. If Arteta does the right thing.
Is Martinelli still good enough for you to still be in the Arsenal squad, but not a starter?
Oh, definitely. Same thing as Trossard, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, Moreno is. We know he's.
If you had to get rid of one, right? Okay, he's one. If you have to get rid of one out of Trossard and Martinelli, one's got to go. Who are you getting rid of?
Ooh.
I'm getting rid of Martinelli.
Really?
They get more money for him.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. And the numbers don't match up, Stan. I would say Tross.
I mean Martinelli had 7 million, so there is a big return, right? About 7 million, something like that, right? It's peanuts. But
Martinelli had that season, 2 seasons ago, he had 15 goals, 2 assists, I think, in the league. He's not had anything like that in any of the other seasons. Trossard has been more consistent. And, we remember a run-in last season where he was...
Trossard's 29 now, 28, 20. How is Trossard?
Trossard's 29, 30.
No spring chicken, right?
No spring chicken, So there's definitely Martinelli's got years on his side, but does he have that level?
He wouldn't sell Trossard. All right, we're not going to get that much. Bring in a better winger and have Martinelli fighting for his place and coming off the bench and playing in cup games. And
I mean,
he's been fighting for his spot for years now. I mean, that's the thing. He's been fighting for his spot for years now.
As BX says, Arteta doesn't do the logical solutions. There's still a residual loyalty factor in Arteta's thinking, which is disturbing. Odegaard struggles. He stays in games. Gary, go on.
Ilolo says, right, keep Trossard. He's our jotter off the bench. And I agree with that in the way that he does appear to the eye to be more successful when he comes into games, but Trossard ain't gonna stand for that. He's like, no, I'm not. He's apparently he's very vocal, isn't he, about how much he plays, and he's not a shrinking violet. There's no way that he would stay at Arsenal and agree to have that role. I just don't see it.
Yeah, but then I'll just show him the tape from the last
29.
Show him the tape from the PSG match, and then have him come chat to me about it. Tell me what this PSG match shows you that you deserve to get those minutes that you're talking about.
Definitely.
Right? Because that is what we get. Right? We get those things in those type of games where we need somebody different, somebody better. So I now
But if I was Trossard, right, at his age, and that's the
Mm.
deal you're putting in front of me, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go and play in the MLS for a bit more cash as I want, because he's 29, right? Maybe
I
he's going to
think-
do something like that.
yeah. You know,
I think the squad-
in reality we sell both of them. You know, because worst case scenario, you can bring in Wary in and let. I mean, I have no doubt in Wary can play that position.
I think Martinelli would
well.
fight for his place.
Yeah, no,
Except
but I don't. He's been fighting for it already, and we're still asking him to fight again. We're done fighting for this position. He's not taking it.
Yeah,
He's
neither one of them have. Neither one of them, after 2 seasons or 3 seasons now,
No one's
2 and
nailed
a
it
half
down, have
seasons,
they?
neither one has knocked each other out of contention.
Yeah.
Arteta
we
wants to go
need
with
somebody in there.
Martinelli.
It's just going to take somebody that comes in with maybe some more credentials that will take it from them, and it won't
Mhm.
even be. It'll be clear as day. As you know,
Yeah.
this is it, right? So I
All
kind
right.
of feel like, yeah, he's had his chances, and yeah,
And
I'm
there's
more
not
pleased.
many. There's not many players that are like Bukayo Saka, but neither one of these two are reaching any kind of level that Bukayo Saka is reaching on the right
I'll
hand
tell
side.
you now, though, if Arteta has to choose to get one of them, he's getting rid of Trossard. And again, the reason is because I think he does appreciate the defensive game that Martinelli has.
And I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. That's
So,
no.
I agree. I agree with you guys. This is, but
our
Stan, this is
If you're
not.
going to weigh him up as what sort of a coach he is, right? He is a defensive coach. I mean, look at the goalkeepers he went through to find the right one. He's constantly the amount of left backs that we have available.
He had a good one to start. He didn't even have to go and get one. He had one already.
I think what
Martinez, like, no, for me, the fact that we're saying, you know, as a wing, one of the things that we like about him is his defense. That's no. I'm sorry.
I agree.
No,
I agree with you.
The things that we like about
Stan and I,
the things that Arteta likes about Moreno is that he will come back and support the midfield. No.
Stan and I,
the things that he likes about Zinchenko is what? That he will come in and support the middle. No, you are a fullback. You could supporting the middle cannot be your primary role.
We don't
You're
agree.
Play fullback. So
Mm-hmm.
all of these things. No, I want if it's not going to be a Saka-like player, I want them to be the best wing, the best striker. I don't care about the defensive responsibilities at that point. I'd rather have somebody who's going to give me 20 goals and maybe give 5 goals because of their defensive frailties than somebody who's going to give me 10 goals and give, that's it, right? And I want the 20 goal guy across the board. I think we'll do better, and we'll get better defensively anyways. He can put anybody. So far, what we've put all of our players in the defensive side, all have contributed. Right, Kyrgios should have been in midfield. Calafiori probably should have. Sorry, not midfield. It should have been a center back. Calafiori should have been a center back. All these guys, they play out position. When you put them in the right positions, they look much better.
Yeah,
I think I think he doesn't do anything like that on the front and the front line. And where he should be getting minutes. Why is he not getting minutes?
Yeah,
we need to score goals. Bring him in.
We
need to score goals. Give him minutes. We have. On the front line, legitimately, we've got Nweri and Saka, and then what we're getting from Moreno, right? But we're going to start Martinelli because you know what? He defends well, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? What side of the pitch did they go up the last game, right? They barely went up Martinelli's, maybe because that's Martinelli there, but they picked on our right side because guess what? That's where we made all our changes essentially, right? When you take Rice out of there and move things, so. They picked on us right where we had the vulnerabilities. Maybe I think this next game we'll see. Hopefully, what we expect to see, which is a really good game from us. And but no, I don't want defensive responsibilities to be the first thing we talk about with our players.
He's got to change his mindset, Gary, for next Wednesday to be less controlling of possession, more cavalier, and more attack minded, and that means putting some of your best players in positions on the field that are going to be able to hurt PSG. Now, there's a few things that PSG has not seen on the field against Arsenal. Mikel Merino up front and Thomas Partey pushing from the number 6 position. Question to the panel. I think that this is a good one. Who wants to go first? Who would accept a guaranteed route to the final in exchange for Saka being suspended for the final? I would take that.
No, you know what? I don't want to because Arteta is going to sit and worry.
Guaranteed final.
And
We're in the final.
Arteta is going to play Sterling and Martinelli and Moreno, and then wonder why we're struggling. That's what he's going to do. He's not going to play and worry. Right? Yeah, exactly. So think about that. We're talking about going to the finals and getting spanked, right?
Yeah.
I saw Arteta, right? That's what I think would happen.
All right, Gary's taking his chance. He's going to let the dice roll. I'm going to say I'll take that card. And sorry, because you're suspended for the final. But we are in a final and we got a chance to win it.
Yeah.
Tiebreaker, Stan.
Oh, for me, this is a very easy one to answer. I mean, we've just discussed earlier that, and some people were saying that perhaps Saka is still not, functioning even up to maybe 90% yet because of the injury that he's had. And when you've seen a player like Wanari, who can come into that position and flourish, and as I said earlier, the guy hasn't got a care in the world and he's hungry. So, yeah, because I've got every confidence that Wanari could actually do a job in that position. Especially if he's going like, what? I'm playing in the final, rubbing his hands together. He's not going to be like, what am I going to do? Oh, I'm not ready for this. No, he's going to be like, Saka's out and I'm in. What a touch. This couldn't go any better for me. He's that sort of guy, right? So, yeah. I'll take it.
Right. Martinelli's a gem, says BX Skinner. Listen, he's a gem, and we can probably sell him for a profit now. But I think for squad building purposes, Trossard will be the player who makes way, and Martinelli has youth on his side and maybe less games in his Arsenal future, unless he can put that.
Oh, why are you still dreaming? Stop dreaming. You're dreaming again. Stop.
You just said you would accept him being a squad player.
I don't. You're expecting him to get any better. I'm saying he's not going to get any better. Yeah, he can come off the bench for us, but like I said, I don't mind selling both of them.
Okay. I like this, Gary. I like this, Gary. Making moves in the transfer window.
Trossard doesn't mind rocking the boat. He doesn't mind knocking on the manager's door. And I think maybe it's like that. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that. Martinelli hardly knocks on the door. I don't tell him what I want. He does it. When you're playing, you're not playing, he goes along. But Trossard, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think he probably wouldn't mind if he could move him on.
You need a little bit of that. I mean, you need.
Stan, we have witnessed Gary coming to the end of the line with Gabriel Martinelli.
Yeah, it's happening.
Well, yeah,
and you have supported him over the years, Gary.
No, I have, but like at some point we can't be getting this close over and over and over again because that's what we're doing right now.
I don't
not get somebody to help me get across the line. He's not going to help me get across the line.
Yes.
As much as I like some players, I really don't mind who we sell or who we get rid of on the one condition that it means that they're going to be upgraded on. If you're going to sell a player and you're going to leave a hole and not replace that player even in that position, I'm going to get pissed off. Or if you're going to sell that player and then you buy a player that comes in and they're not near the player that we sold, I'm going to ask questions. So I try not to attach myself. And just touching on what Gary said earlier when he was like going through like the list of some of the things that kind of like annoyed him, and I was saying I totally agree with you. Players playing, not in their correct position. Kivior, I kind of felt so sorry for him because when he started coming into the team, most of the time he was playing at left back, and I was like, I didn't know who he was, but I thought to myself, I thought this guy was the left-footed centre back. I thought that this guy was here to either fight or cover for Gabriel Megalegs because he's a left-footed centre back, and we kept seeing him at left back, and he didn't have some very good games, and he was getting pelters, and then there was talk that he was going to, there were people that looking to buy him, and he would be leaving, and blah blah blah, and then Gabby Megalegs gets injured, and then you're thinking, well, who's he going to put in there? And people were using Kivior as like not even the first one to go to. Oh yeah, such and such could play there. We could play Saliba there, move him out of position, another chess piece move, and put X in there. And I'm like, if I'm Kivior listening to this, I'd be like, hello, I am sitting here, I am hearing this. I'm a centre back.
It does seem,
and he's gone in and he's proved everybody like wrong. And I really enjoy that. had some good games, and you can see he's comfortable because he'd be in the centre back position, and he's not scared to make a long spraying pass if it's on.
Yeah.
And you don't do that if you're not comfortable. You're going to either pass it sideways or backwards.
It seems like Mikel is a little bit slow to recognize the strengths of these players and use the right player in the right position with Kivior. He's a center back. He's the direct replacement for Gabriel Magalhaes when he's injured, and go from there. And he's got to do it with more of the squad and not move things around as such, but just put a good player that's competent in the
there's
position.
Two schools of thoughts with Kivior, right? Some people are saying, well, if it's a purple patch, let's just sell him when the window opens because, his value would have gone up. But I'm thinking to myself, well, if we're actually seeing the real player, what he can do in that position, why would we sell him and take a gamble on bringing another left-footed centre-back in that might not be able to replicate that?
Well,
why not keep him? Because
it could be. And what we're seeing is a player who's playing well.
Yes, he's playing very well. We're not
but
we're not coming out games going,
his levels.
Legs is out. This geezer's shit in the bed all the time. We're not saying
but
that.
His levels could drop as well. So we've seen that with Odegaard now. We're seeing that with Odegaard right now.
He's barely even had enough time to play as a center back for us to go. His levels could drop. He's been playing out of position, right? And then we finally play. It's almost like this whole Xhaka has been playing out of position.
He was in the Napoli first team, wasn't he?
Xhaka was playing out of position for 6 years. They finally found a role in a position for him where he could excel at, and he did really well. And then we had to let him go. These players, he's a center back coming in. We don't play him as a center back, and then we want to know why. I get upset because when he came in, he's not that good. But guess what? What else does he have to do now to prove to you that he can play as a center back for Arsenal? We're missing Gabriel, but we're not missing him that much, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have his blips. One, because he hasn't played it in a while, right? He's had his blips, but he's always responded and recovered every time. Every time you see him have a little, he had a blip in the Real Madrid game. He settled down and was comfortable for the rest, right? And saw that thing out. So for me, that's on the coach. You get these players, their roles are this when they come to you, and then you just fill holes. You just fill them as opposed to rotate. I've been talking about rotate all the damn time. At some point, we're going to have to rotate our center backs. Guess what? We never got to rotate them. What do we got? We got an injury, and that's the only reason why we had to make a change to a guy who can play. They're like, he's going to be out the door, right? He's out the door because he's not playing in his role, and he's playing out of position, and he's not comfortable there. And we finally put him in the right spot. Voila, it looks much better, right? The man scoring goals and everything, right? So, this is the Arteta player, man management type thing. He can't get the best out of his players if he plays them out of position all the damn time.
With Kivior, for me, he's the best way to put it. Let's say this was the summer, and Kivior wasn't an Arsenal player; he was still playing in Italy. And for whatever reason, we decided that in this window, we were going to sell Gabriel Magalhaes. Or we sold him for a profit. And with that money, we brought in Kivior for the money that we paid for him. And those last games that he's been playing in his position were the first games of the season, playing in that position of Gabriel Magalhaes. Would you be sitting there going, we really fucked up selling Magalhaes? Or we go, this is a nice bit of business. This is quite a nice bit of business. This guy's doing really well next to Saliba, and we've made all that money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
You would be, right? You would be going, this is a mistake. He hasn't done anything, out of order. He's not put a foot wrong. He's not cost us. He looks comfortable. So
exactly.
I probably would like to, if this continues to the end of the season, pre-season, why sell him? Unless he wants to go and he's agitating for a move. But, if he's settling in, we now know that Magalhaes doesn't have to play as many games next season because we've got someone that can come in and we can trust. It gets him more games, right?
Yeah.
We don't have to run Magalhaes into the ground.
Lolo said really should have played Mazlou Kelly at 6 with Timber and White, Mourinho up top, Leo off the bench to score. And that's with hindsight, Lolo, right?
No, but you know what? It's not always with hindsight. It's just a lot of people were talking about that. A lot of
Not
people
Miles
talking about
Lewis
that
Kelly.
because the
Miles
whole
Lewis
point,
Kelly at
the,
six.
the whole
No.
point was you're taking Moreno out of our front line. We're not going to
Well,
get a
yeah,
player that can hold the ball up
Marino up
anymore.
top,
We're
but
not going to get a
was
player that can play a little bit better in the air. They're not. He's going to be a threat to them, right? Trossard isn't a threat to them, right? But Moreno is because Moreno, he will. Like I said, he'll support in the midfield, which we needed in this game, right? And he can definitely do a job up top. So like it's a double. It's a double. It's you just like I said, you killed your front line when you took him out, and then he's not that good, not as good in the midfield as he is for us right now up top. So,
yeah.
you're getting less effectiveness out of him when he plays back. So you kind of hurt. Is with all that, with all of that, we're only down one. So like from now we can't take chances. We need to go
Um,
100% at whatever we're doing. You
and
know,
Gary, 46-minute first couple of minutes of the second half. We see what Miguel Marino could do and can do when playing up front. A goal scored from a free kick. We didn't get enough free kicks, said Red John earlier in the chat, which is probably true. It's probably something that Luis Enrique and PSG planned for. But Gary, Miguel Marino, he's got a threat up front, and he scored with the header from the free kick, but marginally, although it took 3 minutes to decide, offside.
yeah. So, and that's without him playing up top. So I think right there that should have been the answer. We needed to make a move to push him up further up the pitch, and we didn't do it until we needed to do it sooner than later. Um, no, he's done. He's over achieved for us, right? And we need that. And I'd rather not hurt ourselves by moving him out of that front line from now on,
Yeah,
no matter what injuries we have or
I,
suspensions or whatever. So
yeah.
like I said, we only got 90. You got 90 minutes to continue on. So we need to go. Even like say he comes out and he has a bad game and you need to pull him. Guess what? We pull him. That's the other part to this. Arteta needs to realize you don't have another. You don't have the next game. You got this one and that's it. So if there needs to be a
Yeah.
change, we just need to make it right.
Here's the question, Gator, and what you're saying is quite frightening, right? Because think of it this way: this next game that we play next week on that's the Hell's Angels. They want their money back, right? It's what the biggest game in since what 2006
9.
2009, sorry,
Yeah.
a long time.
Something
And we
like
can all see that our captain is not up to snuff. He's not up to snuff for whatever reason. Is he going to miraculously find it for that next? What do you do? He's the captain, the position he plays, the experience.
Miguel
Does
Arteta.
he start him on the? Can he really, in a second leg of a semi-final, see him starting Martin Odegaard on the bench? Would you do it?
Miguel Arteta gets paid
Would you do
pretty
it, Gary?
decent.
Would you put him on the bench and
We
say
wouldn't. We would have
start
already
him?
figured it. We would
I
already
mean, you would
figured
if it
out.
was FIFA, right? But I mean, do you know what I'm getting at? It's like
I would have already figured out by now whether or not he's going to be good for me
Yeah.
or not.
you give him like 50
that's-
minutes.
No. You're saying now, like if I was in charge of this thing, I would have said what and where he can't play that position. That's what he does. Can we try him out? And like by now, I would have known whether or not. Guess what? We getting better out of Nweri, and maybe he comes in and plays, and maybe you play Nweri in front of him, right? Maybe you play Nweri as that 10 or whatever, and let him play in the middle.
Different formation,
right?
though, isn't it? That's him
Yeah,
changing the formation.
Yeah, but you want to get your
see
best play. You want to get your best players out there,
don't
so you
see
have to.
doing that.
Yeah, but this is what
That's the problem.
that's what good managers would do. They would adjust
He's
to
not right
the
back
best.
for a right back because we needed to win a game. It's like, what's that going to do? Change the formation. He takes off one right back and brings on another.
And that's where, that's why, somebody was saying the other day, does he not have the right people around him? Like, does he not, are you seriously sitting there as an assistant watching him go, we're down a goal at home. We know we don't really want to go go
Let's switch
to
right backs.
go to PSG for and down a goal when
And
we can probably get a goal.
was there.
And
One
where
area
he's sitting
was
there,
there.
and we're like, and we're
switch
not,
right back.
Yeah.
so like, what are they really sitting there going? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, coach.
What
No, you need
did we know
need
that? So Gary, when the game starts,
That's
you're
bizarre,
looking
isn't
at
it?
the
It is
team,
bizarre.
right?
Hang on. Let's talk about this for a moment. These substitutions. We're at home, 1-0 down. We've been pressuring the goalkeeper as well. And that's some shots.
Give me the substitutions
You're
that were
swapping out
made.
a right back for a right back. I mean, you're not going to say, okay, let's take out. I'm going to roll the dice here. Let's take out a right back and let's put in Butler Oladeji for those 5 minutes, and we do something 3 at the back and be a little bit something. But you're just going to swap your right back for your right back. I mean, to me, that's just like what are you trying to say? If I'm the opposition, I'm like, what are you telling me here?
Well, looking at the highlights, Dan, PSG had a few chances in the last 10, 15 minutes to sew this game up, and we were lucky not to concede that second goal, So what do? Do you bat down the hatch, just take your 1-0 licking and go home?
One of Mikel Arteta's biggest problems, even though I'm a supporter of him, is he sticks to his position when we're on the ball and off the ball. There's two kinds of positions that we play. There's one position that we play when we're on the ball, and there's another one when we're off the ball. And he's not willing to sort of like roll the dice sometimes when it's like, okay, we need to chase this. We need to do something different.
But
he used to do it. I used to call it the kitchen sink. Wenger used to do the kitchen sink now and again. It's like all of a sudden we've got like 4 attackers on. You're like, what? There's like one guy in midfield. It's like 4 attackers. You're like, okay.
When I know the lineups,
there is no. Okay, I'm going to say it. Sometimes it feels like there's no plan B. If you're taking off a right back and putting on another right back, that's not a plan B.
Yeah, that's same for same.
Same plan, isn't it?
Like for like. When I know the lineups are out, I look at the team, right? Okay, it's a pretty strong team without Partey. We got to move some things around. Then I look at the substitutes bench. I'm like, there's not a lot there. So you're asking the starting 11 to basically to pull the full weight for the game, pretty much. There was this team, this squad does not have a lot of depth to it now through injuries. Magalhaes been out, Havertz been out. Maybe we've benefited from some of our players being injured and Bukayo Saka coming back for this cup run in the Champions League. But
Jorginho.
The flip side is you got, I think Calafiori may be injured as well. Tomiyasu's injured. The players that you kind of rely on, they're not there. And we're down to the bare bones. And, we're going to get in. We can talk about the cup half full.
No. This is the problem. You're going. We don't have anybody on our bench. We had people on our bench that we could use in this game. Because
you say Tomiyasu.
No, you still had answers on the bench this on Tuesday, right? If you're having problems with managing things in the midfield, you had options. You could have brought, as we said, Tierney on and push Skelly up. You could have brought Zinchenko on and let him play in the midfield if you wanted. You had options there to control the middle of the pitch and push us up because we needed to score, right? More likely, needed. Like I'd rather try at some point. I wanted to try and get that second goal, right? Right. At some point, that's what we wanted. We needed to do that. We didn't do that, so now we're gonna have to go. Now we're gonna have to go do something. Arteta isn't prepared to do. I think is go out there and try to get 2 to 3 goals. That's what he's gonna need to do.
And we also have to even though it was offside, we did put the ball in the back of the net. It was a fraction, but we did show that we can put a play together.
And we had two
PSG, right?
Two big. Yeah, and 2 big chances. We had the Martinelli chance in the first half. He's got to go. He's got to lift that into the corner, either right or go near post.
And with 50
Donnarumma the eye,
the shots that we took, I think it was it 15? We've got 50-50. That's not a bad ratio.
And then we had the Trossard chance as well in the second half.
They've got a very good goalkeeper, as we have as well.
Now, a goalkeeper like that can make you be extra careful with your finish, right? Can psych you out a little bit. This guy is a huge human being who can cover a lot of the goal. I've got to be extremely
He literally
precise.
looks like the Jolly Green Giant, doesn't he? Off of the corn advert in his green kit, and it's
Yeah,
massive.
and I happen to think, looking at the goalkeepers left in the competition, he's probably the best goalkeeper left in the competition. He's better than Summers, he's better than Chesney, and he's probably better than David Raya as well. You know,
I'm not
Well,
sure
he
if
just,
there's much in it. I don't think there's much in it between him and Ryan. I think they're kind of on in a, they would dine at the same table. Because I think David
yeah,
Raya is a very good goalkeeper, a very good
yeah,
goalkeeper.
yeah. The Trossard chance in the second half, Gary. Uh, this is Trossard usually is one of our better finishers in this situation. He gets a good contact. Again, it's to Donnarumma's right or left side, so he's able to get down. You can tell the goalkeeper knows this is a world class save because the way he celebrated the save as well.
so it was a good shot and it was a good save. So I mean, I don't think there's nothing negative on the Trossard side there. I mean, if is that the ball that went through his legs and died? Is that the one that you're talking about? Or is that a different game? I'm getting my
He sort of hits it as a toe poke straight for the corner with his
okay.
right foot. I
All right,
think it's
so
Trossard's. We know Trossard is good on both feet, but it's probably realistically his weaker of the
yeah.
2 feet.
But you know what? And that's the thing. Like that's okay. You said one shot that he did. What else did he do in this game?
Trossard,
Yeah.
I didn't. I don't. Probably the answer is no. He didn't do very much else, right?
Yeah,
Is that
no,
what you're-
no, no. I don't think he did much else, and he's gonna get his shot, right? He's gonna get his shot when he plays. But
Yeah,
we needed everybody to contribute, and when you're playing, kind of maybe with half a man with Trossard, half a man with Martinelli to some degree, half a man with like Erdogan, you kind of missing. You need a lot. We need a lot more. We can't be playing down, 1.5 men. Kind of.
yeah.
We need to be playing with everybody. So
You
that's kind
There
of
is something though. In Trossard's defence, though, right? We're kind of saying like, he shouldn't be starting. In a perfect world, he should be a player that's a bench player that can come in and cut player. But we have to remember two things. One, Gabriel Jesus is not available. Whether you like him or not, he's a striker for Arsenal. And then the next one is you've got to also remember that Havertz isn't available, whether you like him or not.
Yeah, but the problem wasn't the
We haven't
problem
got
isn't that
anyone.
we played. No, we
We're
have
playing
Moreno.
Trossard when if those two were available, Trossard wouldn't be starting that game.
No, but
Right?
if you have options, the problem wasn't just Trossard. The problem was we wanted to move Moreno out of a better position.
Yeah, agreed.
That's the problem. The problem is
I
that
agree.
and instead of like we have so many options in midfield and back that we could have done. And we didn't
Yeah,
do any of those because we wanted to. He would rather err on the side of I'll move. Moreno moving back doesn't help us as much defensively as keeping him up because you know what sometimes the best defense is an offense, and he would have given that
yeah,
to us, right?
yeah,
So for me, if we wanted to solidify the defense a little bit more, then that's where you have the Skelly, you have the Tierney, you have the Zinchenko
but
options to do stuff like that.
another argument is as well, and I'm playing my devil's advocate card. When we all
hard.
go on our phones, right, an hour before the game to see like who's playing, and we see the picture on the phone, right?
Yeah,
We all saw that Trossard was playing up front, and that's
yeah,
probably what was handed in. But we all know that the way that we play football, that's not rigid. There were plenty of times when Marino was getting up there and Trossard was dropping back. So we shouldn't hang on sometimes, I think, to that Trossard was playing as our striker because we do play in a more fluid way where
yeah,
Marino was getting up there as well, right? Into some positions. So it's not
You're
really.
trying to make this sound really good, but no, it sucked. All right,
It's
it
not.
sucked.
It's true though, right?
No, but it does that. It's but we're
basically
playing
putting
we're playing
the
with half a
team
deck, and you're
in a
saying, oh,
kind
you
of
know what? We
sharing
can
that
switch things
position.
around. It's not. No, but we still. It doesn't help us. We need to be better. We need to have our better players on the pitch.
The
I'd
reason that
rather it would have.
formation looks like it does when we look at our phone is simply because Mikel Arteta has tried to put both of them in the team.
Yeah.
He wants
Yeah.
Marino in there and Trossard in there because there's no one else, and they're kind of
Oh, yeah.
sharing duties a little bit.
And again, we talked about this a couple of shows about maybe a few weeks ago. Ethan Waneri is the 12th man right now, unfortunately.
I don't
You know,
understand why he's getting
He's
scrapped.
not even the 12th man because the 12th man would have come on with 30 to 20
Right.
to 30 minutes left if he was
Yeah.
actually a third man in that type of match. He doesn't trust him that well, all right? So
That
for
much,
me, no, I hear what you're saying, but that's not what was going
And
on there.
BX Gunner is right here. Arteta did not line up to win. Shows his minerals. He lined up to almost negate the dangers of PSG.
And
to
like I
bring
said,
Mourinho back.
we're not playing to our strength. We're playing to nullify theirs.
Yeah.
That's all. And like
So
we get to play our style of football, right? Are we not good enough to do that? And you know what? When
and
you're
this
trying
this is the poor state of affairs, Gary, because if we miss a 32-year-old midfielder in Thomas Partey, we're not the same team. And
if that's the case, then we are far away from anything because we
right,
were lucky to get what we got out of him this year, right?
yes,
And if we don't have an ability to play without him, guess what? We're in trouble, right? Because
you see,
is he gonna are we gonna be lucky enough to get a healthy Partey next year? If not, we're gonna take a significant
we didn't
drop in, and we're gonna have to either change our formation or we're going to have to find a replacement for him, which there
nobody,
isn't. So the only option we have is to change our formation and change the way we play. Because if we can't get the same thing out of him, then we're going to be struggling to do the same thing with players that can't perform in
and
the same way.
I feel like none of us really thought that Thomas Partey would play 40 games. I don't know how many games he's played this season, but it could be something close to 40 games.
Not a
None
right
of us thought that he would hit. Half of them are right back.
And that's the other part. So we're supposed to be. We need to rest him. So no, we're not going to rest him. We're going to play him
Yeah.
at right back. So you're like overdoing it with him. I mean, luckily he decided. I want to take a break. I'll get the yellow. All right.
Right. So
Yeah.
let's
So
talk.
you know what? Here's what I'm hoping for now that he's he punished himself or took a break, whichever one you want to call it. When he comes back, he needs to go out in a blaze of glory, kind of thing. If this is going to be his last, and go out there and when I went to that North London derby, and Partey was basically cleaning up the whole midfield and then scoring a goal from distance. That's what we need to see from him because he should be pissed that he didn't play. Like when they panned to him in the stands, I hope he was going, I did this to my team. I screwed them over a little bit.
He has to feel that, and he has to feel that he needs to give them a performance next Wednesday.
But he also is saying to his agent, I got them.
He got what?
I got them. I got Arteta. I got Arsenal.
Okay.
They need me.
I'm valuable. Yeah.
Before we move on to the next topic, there's something that I'd like to say as well, and it's something that's kind of been needling me this season with the manager's decision making. Because when we kind of started the season, we had Waneri on the bench, and then all of a sudden we lost our creative attacking midfielder. Our captain was out for quite some time, and I kind of thought to myself, well, okay, this young kid's probably going to come in now, and we're going to see what this guy can do. Maybe he won't start, but maybe he'll come on with after 60 minutes or so, and it didn't happen. I can remember coming on podcast, and what did Mikel Arteta do? He changed the formation of the team. Remember, we were playing 4-4-2 and
4-2-2-2.
And Waneri was not getting any sniffs, any bites of the apple. And it was only when Saka went out that he was then forced to roll the dice. And what did Waneri do when he came into the team? Everyone was like, who is this kid?
Showed his quality.
He comes into the team, and the geezer is producing from day one. Whether it's
Across
goals,
all
assists,
competitions.
he's forced his. Sorry about that. Something's going down here in Vancouver. At least I've got an alibi, right, being on this podcast.
I didn't see him, Mr. Officer. He stepped out for, I think it was 5 minutes. It could have been 30. I don't remember.
But anyway, right,
remember, it's a small podcast. Not many people watch this stuff.
But what I'm saying is, right, he gets forced to roll. He gets forced to roll the dice, and we see this young kid come, and we're all sort of like saying like, this could be like the next Saka. This guy, every game he's doing something, and then Saka comes back, and takes his place. And meanwhile, we're still looking at Martin Odegaard going like, well, you're going to do something. You know that meme where the guy's poking with the stick? Do something. Do something. And it seems now that Winery's kind of been like discarded. How could you not see this player do what he was doing and then somehow still not find a way to continue to tap into that? And meanwhile, the captain, in a position which is supposed to be his better position, Winery's, he's not doing anything. He's getting scraps while for me, Odegaard is stinking up the gaff. That's what I wanted to say. I don't understand that decision making.
Yeah, and that ties into actually the next segment a little bit as well. Let's get this coming through though. The truth is the players thought all they had to do was turn up and PSG would crumble. Too arrogant just because we beat Madrid. This is the thing. I think Red John mentioned the PSG crumbled in the past against Barcelona in previous years under Unai Emery before he went to Arsenal. I feel this is a different team, and the players were interviewed afterwards. They mentioned some of the things that Arsenal players have mentioned. They're much more of a team now. They're young players who enjoy working for each other, and that's what professional football is about. You have to work for each other. You have to do the hard yards. You have to work hard, and the quality will edge out at the end of the day, hopefully. But you have to stay rigid in the things that the manager wants you to do in terms of duels and physicalities. So next segment, Gary and Stan. I'll go to Gary first. Cup half full or cup half empty? Arsenal this season. We've come so far. There is quality in this team. There's a lot of good things about Arsenal, but obviously, and we've mentioned it up to now in this podcast alone, there's lots of things that we still need to do with this squad, with this team, Gary.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna be pessimistic here. I think it's half empty. I mean, half empty. Yeah, we know what we needed to do in the last couple of windows. We needed some attacking support. We didn't get we brought in Sterling. That was the answer. Okay. That was the answer. Yeah. We didn't want to spend an extra 20 mil on Ollie Watkins.
The police are now on their way to your house, Gary.
So yeah, no, so I'm gonna go half empty here as far as the way we've handled ourselves in kind of the market.
Yeah.
Calafiori for 40 mil, no, didn't work out for us. We haven't really got much out of him. You could have taken that 40 mil and maybe put that towards maybe a striker or a wing or a creative mid or somebody who's going to be able to help us score goals.
Yeah.
Defensively, it doesn't matter who he brings in; he's gonna get something out of them. So for me, we need attacking help, right? You let 4 attackers out the door. You brought Sterling in, and I keep saying that. Guess what? We let how many goals out the door? I don't know, 20 to 30 GA, 40, maybe 40 GA, 20 to 30 GA probably we let out the door. We brought in Sterling. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
You gotta do better, and you don't want to utilize in Weary, so there goes even more GA that you can't get, right? I mean, the Butler came in, and the first touch he got, I'm like, why is he not getting opportunities if that's what he can do for us? Because as much as he hasn't had a good time in what is it, Division 2, wherever he was playing, he's a striker and he knows how to play the position, so maybe you should let him do it. Same thing with Kirior, right? So I'm going to go half empty. We have players leaving. We have players getting older and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
We're back to this 5 to 10 players we need to bring in somehow. Maybe they come from the academy. Maybe they come from the academy. Maybe they come from some of the loans we let out. But we're like 5 to 10 players short. When you look at who's going to be out the door and what do we need to bring in? All right.
And despite
it seems like forever that Gary's been telling me that we're half a team short.
Yeah, and we're back there again. Think about it. We're back there again. We need to replace Neto. We need to
half a
replace
squad.
either Jorginho and Partey, or just Jorginho, right?
Yeah,
It's a is Tomiyasu going to come back? We don't know
Who?
about that. Tommy, yeah, exactly. Is Jesus going to
I
come
mean,
back? Right? We don't
Apparently,
know
he
about
can
yeah.
buy
that.
some actually body parts on the dark
Yeah,
web. I'm just hearing that. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Jesus will come back at
Jesus won't come back
November,
till the end of the
November,
year.
December.
So
Yeah,
those are five players right there. We they're either out the door or not. We don't know if they're going to come back, and if they do, are they going to be healthy enough to help us? Right? All
yeah.
right. I'm supposed to bring back Fabio Vieira. Like, think about it.
Teabag,
Fabio Vieira,
teabag alert,
Sambi.
teabag alert.
I mean, we have like another 5 to 10 players on loan that might come back.
Yeah.
Like Nelson will come back. Nelson had the same injury as everybody else, hamstring
Marquinhos,
injury. Marquinhos is going to come back. I mean, we have a lot of work to do, but we need to bring in.
Sambi,
We have
Sambi,
others.
Lakonga,
But Gary, despite all of that, right, we're in the semi-final with a fighting chance to go
Nuno
through to the
Tavares.
final
Yeah,
of
but
the
if we
Champions
don't,
League.
we
There are
we cross the
qualities
even if
in
we
the team.
cross the line, we still have all those holes to fill,
Yeah,
right? Because we not necessarily hurt ourselves. We put ourselves in a situation that we can continue in the Premier League and get what we wanted. Like, we need to get wins when Liverpool dropped points, and we never did it. Never did
not
it.
this season.
We
We
needed to
couldn't
be able to.
string three wins together.
We needed to go farther in the domestic cups. We did get into the semis, right? And then
Yeah,
we got blasted by Newcastle.
yeah. Listen,
Three
there,
times this year as we played them. 3 times this year we've been shut out, no goals. Right? That
there
can't.
are danger signs for this semi-final, Gary.
Mhm.
We got to a Carabao semi-final. We didn't take our chances, and Newcastle did. Uh, on Tuesday night, we didn't take our chances. PSG took the one of the chances that they had. There are alarm bells ringing for this semifinal. It will be a huge feat to get through next Wednesday. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. It's been done before, but I think I would probably go glass half empty as well. Overall, for all of the things Gary has said, there's a lot of work to be done to the squad. There is quality within the team, but it needs to be fortified, and Saka needs some help. He can't do it all by himself up front. When Martinelli and Trossard together don't equal what I feel what Saka can give us, then you have to be ringing some alarm bells. And I think Havertz not being available has been a big miss as well because Havertz is a Champions League quality type of player. There are qualities within this team, but it stretches to the 12th and 13th man, and probably doesn't go past that. You know, so when Stan gets back, we'll take his take on that as well. Half glass full, half empty, and until we get those players that we really need, maybe a midfielder, definitely a striker who's going to score goals. I'm feeling a striker will offset a lot of the problems that we have up front. If you have a striker like a Gyökeres, let's say it's going to be Victor Gyökeres, right? You would expect him to probably get 20 goals, Premier League goals a season for Arsenal. That's going to give you a goal start in half of the league games that you play, Gary, and that will offset a lot of the things that are difficult with Arsenal because the drawing games, Gary, have been too many this season.
Yeah,
You know,
we need to get that second goal, and we can never get it. And we put people in position to get us that second goal to give us that 2 goal lead, and
yeah.
they can't do it.
Well,
And
we're
not only will the striker maybe score the 20 goals, but that striker will also open things up for everybody. Like, they won't be able to just bring everybody out there to Saka if we actually have a threat in the middle, right?
yeah, yeah. Right now they're locking down the right hand side with Kai Saka because they know that's Arsenal's main danger,
Yeah,
and they're going to take
and then the
their
same thing
chances.
with the left wing. If we have a decent left wing out there, they will have to
Yeah,
attend. They will have to have some attention on him as well. So
yeah.
I kind of feel like we need That's why we need to have a balanced front line, right? Right now, we just have Saka, and we need somebody. We need if you're gonna have Saka at his level, you need to bring some players or closer to that level, right, to support him. Same
Yeah.
way that like if we, if you got Saliba and Gabriel, they're at a particular level. We need the same thing up top on the front line, right? You've got
Yeah.
Partey and Rice in the midfield; those are two players. But at the top, we just have Saka. That's it. So I feel like we need to have, at least two players at each level, giving us that kind of close to world
That's
class kind of
we need some
performance.
magic dust, a little bit more magic dust up front,
I don't know about
and
magic dust, but we can just go out there and get me those players.
I think Bukayo Saka now will have this. I think this could be. He's got a chance to, take control of a tie as well, Bukayo Saka in the second leg. But Stan, overall in the whole season, glass half full or glass half empty for you?
Well, for me, I'm going to play Tony's card and be very different to you two. And be quite radical because I actually think, for me, looking at the season and overall, for me, it's glass half full. And I'll tell you why I think it's a glass half full. Right now, I'm looking at my club today, and in the league that we're playing in, we're second best.
Yeah.
And we're also one of the 4 best teams in Europe.
Yeah.
We wasn't one of the 4 best teams in Europe last season. We're one of the best 8 teams in Europe last season because we got to the quarterfinals and we're still the second best team. And I think that's magnificent. You go down the teams in the league, how many of them can say that? None. It's a great position to be in. And the reason that my glass is half full is because I'm hearing, well, we've all been hearing, that there's money going to be available for the summer. And we know that some players are going to be leaving. Some of them are past their sell-by date a little bit. You no longer fit into the plans, like your Zinchenko's, your Tierney's. More money will be coming in. And we all know the areas, it's been proven now since the January window, where we're lacking. So it makes me feel optimistic. It doesn't mean I'm 100% satisfied with the manager, because as I highlighted about, the Wanari situation and this, that, and the other, there's things that I'm not happy with. I still think he's the best man for the job at this moment in time.
Yeah. Fair points. Progress made in the Champions League so far.
Oh, and I will say one thing as well. Even if Kai Havertz is fit for the game against Paris Saint-Germain, I would still have him on the bench. He might be fit. It doesn't mean that he's match sharp. And also, I think that, Mikel Merino has earned the right. He's been done what's asked of him. It doesn't mean that he has to play the whole 90 minutes, right? Havertz can come on. But I think that we still should continue with Mikel Merino because Havertz, as I say, he's not going to be match sharp. So, he's served us well so far. Keep the faith.
Yeah, I think you say a lot of good things there. The pain points for Arsenal fans will be last summer we made mistakes. We referenced them with Sterling and Calafiori in particular. And knowing the mistakes that we made, and knowing where we were in the league, especially halfway through the season. The January window's there.
Calafiori for me kind of felt like a luxury buy.
Yeah.
When the state of where we were building the team didn't justify a luxury buy. There were other holes that needed to be there. That could have come later. Why were we doing that now? Never made any sense to me.
The January window is there for teams who want to and have the ability to reinforce for the remainder of the season, and want to, right? We had the ability, we had the money, but we didn't have the want or the willpower to do it. And slightly pathetic if rumors of Ollie Watkins' cursory bid of 40 million is to be believed, right? Because we only needed a few more goals, in my belief anyway. We only needed a few more goals or a few more points to be competitive with Liverpool, to have a chance against PSG. That you could put a player of you could put Martinelli or Trossard on the bench against PSG if you had Ollie Watkins playing up front. So I think we missed a trick there. And what annoys me, Gary, about this season is that the club didn't do anything in January, and that's the biggest disappointment I have. Now, I hope that I'm happy next season because the club has had waited in January, and we've gotten the players that we think we're going to get in the summer. So, Gary, I know I rambled a little bit there, but pick the bones out of that one, you know?
No, we like I said, they have to be big splashes. Whatever we do, right? Whatever we're bringing in needs to be big splashes. We're continually coming too close, and we're continually not having what we need. All right, they
Yeah.
keep saying Arteta, he'll give us what we need, kind of thing, but he's not. He's not getting when and he needs to be able to look at his bench and go, yeah, I have an answer there, as opposed to look at his bench and go, no, I don't have any answers there. So that's the next thing. So yeah, not. We need people that help us cross the line, not people that are still learning how to do that. So some of it that their talents need to be able to help us cross the line, or they may have already done it. And they can help us because of experience, but we need a lot more than what we got. So,
What I
like I said, if we bring in 2 to 3 players that can seat some of our starters, perfect, because that's what we need.
what I wanted was
I just say, I think that we are now we should be in the position now that if we're looking at a player and considering to spend money on them, and we're saying, yeah, I think this guy could come good, then that should not be a player for the first team. We should be past that now. We should be looking at players for the first team which are guarantees and best in class. If you're going to say, well, yeah, this guy could come good, that has to be someone further down in the pecking order, squad, bench, or maybe just after the bench. We should be gone past that now, and that's why I think that, obviously, if Isak, we're talking about strikers secretly. We all know we're talking about strikers secretly, right? If Isak's going to be out of reach for whatever reason, then for me it's got to be Gyökeres over Sesko, because Sesko is that this guy could come good. This guy could come good. We're past that. To me, Gyökeres to me looks like, okay, well, he looks like he knows where the back of the net is.
Where the goal is. Yeah.
Best in class after Isak. So that's where we should be doing our shopping now. No more of these Marquinhos people, unless they're going to be going straight out on loan. They should not be,
100%.
considered for the first team. We can't. The league is too tough for us to take that gamble. They got time for that.
Yeah, and the league is
T-Bag. 35 million. He's out on loan. 35 million. He's out on loan. That's not good.
We need to have guaranteed 20 league goals at that number 9 position next season. Listen, Liverpool have been good this season. The disappointing thing is that we would have had a new title race with a different team this season, and I think we would have been competitive to the last games of the season if we had done things the right way, particularly in January, where we could have built up a head of steam. Even with the injuries that we had upon us, you know what I mean?
Sometimes it feels like the way Arsenal do their transfer business. They sit around and they've got like a list of players, and they go, "What about that player?" And they go, "Oh, I don't know about that. Why not?" Well, he kind of likes the club he's at.
It's like the Paddy Power way.
He's come through their academy, and I don't. Okay, what about this one? Or why don't they just ever look at a player, go to the club and say, and just make it, even if we get rebuffed, at least it shows everybody these guys are trying to make plans rather than being all, it's like, unless the player is begging to play for Arsenal, the club really wants, it seems to be like all of the stars need to align in order to buy a player. Why not try and turn a player's head? We get players' heads turned. Why can't we turn a player's head? Maybe it doesn't go through, but it shows intent. Maybe that player is. Do you know what I'm getting at? Why do we never seem to do that? It always has to be when everything is perfect.
We need
their grandmother's given a stamp of approval. It's ridiculous. It doesn't work like that.
We need a game changer. We need some players who are going to come into the club and be game changers, to where this fan base will not split in the middle, because half of them believe Mikel Arteta is not right for the club and can't get us over the line.
Why can't Arsenal, for example, right? Instead of reading all the stories and their opinion, why can't they go to Newcastle on the first day that the window opens and put in a bid of £95 million and just see what happens?
Yeah.
Why can't they do that?
I will tell you, Isak is sitting at home in Newcastle watching the Champions League games right now. And he's saying, I'd like to be involved in that. And listen, Newcastle will get into the Champions League next season. But I don't believe they're going to go and win the competition.
I would prefer Arsenal to do that, and the player says no, than Arsenal going, oh, we're not sure about doing it, because he might say no. You don't know unless you try. I want to see you try and do it. You don't. I'm getting that. If he says no, I can't blame you for trying, right?
We're at the level now, and not to get too privileged, right? So we get called as privileged fans, but we're in a position now where around Europe, players are looking at Arsenal and they're saying, there's a number 9 position there to be filled, and I can do that. There's a few select players.
Do you want a manager where you go, I want to bid for that player, and then someone says to you, well, there's no point. Why? Because he'll never leave, and he probably won't want to talk to you. Do you want your manager to then go, oh, okay, or do you want a manager to go, I don't care, I still want to talk to him?
Yeah, the latter.
Do you know what I'm getting at? I still want to talk to him because I'm not convinced him to leave his boyhood club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to be meek. Don't be meek. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's what's going on, but it feels like that. The way that we won't buy a player unless all the fucking stars align.
There's got to be some irons in the fire right now. As BX said, at this point, I feel like the club are forcing Arteta to buy a damn striker because he hasn't bought a real one. And if I'm Mikel Arteta, you got to be like, all we need is a striker. Why can't I just? I don't know why he can't see these things that we see. You know what I mean? Stan, sad to hear about Vancouver attacks recently. Didn't know you were in Vancouver. Yeah, I don't understand what's wrong. What is wrong with humanity, human beings who do these things? It's just ridiculous. Don't understand it. Against Madrid, the player said, "Fuck your instructions. We're going to play our game." You know. All right. Anything else to add on what we've been saying? Listen, what I will say is, if you want to be a negative Arsenal fan, there's enough content and material for you to be a negative Arsenal fan, and you can back it up. You can debate it, and you can say, I'm being negative because the club has not done these things. Or I'm being negative because the players have not done these things. I'm being negative because the manager's not good enough. If you want to be positive and you want to see how far we've come over the last 5 years, you can certainly do that as well. But we need a game changer who's going to tip the scales, so that most of us go one way or the other. You know what I mean? And that's where we're at right now. We just need that striker, I believe, because for me, there was a league title that we could have challenged for again this season. It's embarrassing. 11, 13 points behind Liverpool.
We've missed out on top 4 and 3 titles because we can't score. But all we've done is continue to enhance our defense.
Yeah,
I mean that's all we've done. Like we're not missing out because our defense could be a little bit worse, but if we were able to score, like our scoring has been good, but it doesn't we don't get the timely goals that we need, right? And then we have to depend on our defense to be perfect. And I've been saying this.
Yeah.
Defense is not going to be perfect. At some point, you're going to have to outscore someone, right? At some
4-2,
at some
5-2.
point, at some point, you're going to have to come back
Yeah.
and score on someone, right? In a timely fashion.
Yeah.
We're not able to do that because we don't have the pieces, right?
It's
Or we
bad.
don't, or we won't use the pieces we got. That's
Yeah.
the other part to this whole thing. We have answers. We don't even want to tap it. Like this is hopefully Berta is sitting back and observing everything that he's seeing right now, and then
Yeah.
like can go. Teddy, you want an attacker? You need a creative mid for what reason? You have Nweri sitting there. Tell me what's going on
Yeah.
with that, right? Oh, you need another midfielder. Well, you've got Miles Lewis Skelly. What's wrong with him, right? We have the answers already, and they're
We
like
have.
Nweri and Skelly are gonna should save us 100 to 150 mil in players if we actually utilize them
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the right way. Like
Easily.
talking about a replacement for Partey. I think Skelly could, like this would have been the year for Skelly to be like mentored by Partey because he's more likely to be able to pick up and do the things that Partey does.
Yeah.
We know he's defensively sound. We know he will make those passes, right? That Partey will make on the half turn. Great, right? Attack into the box. Great. I mean, so what more do you want? What are you looking for him not to do? We know. So I just you got you got to take it. You got to take. Stop wasting your players.
We can put the best 11 on the field when everybody's fit. We have the best team in the land, but the next 7, 8 players, that's where we lose out. Well, we need to put substitutes in, and we need to freshen things up and have an option. Odegaard is the only real creative player that we've relied on.
He is not a
So,
creative player, so stop with that. Let's try say
Right.
something else.
I'll move on.
Try
But
something else.
right, you're talking about getting a striker and that's going to give us 20 goals a season. If we do that, whether it's Gyökeres or Isak, for example, just pulling two names out of a hat.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, then you need to ensure that the team is now playing in a way to allow that player to continue to do what it is that why you bought them. If you want that player to play in a different way, then you need to buy a different striker that fits your team.
Yes.
If you want to buy Gyökeres and the goals that he's scoring, then we need to be playing in a way to make sure that he has every opportunity to continue, rather than trying to reinvent his wheel.
And
You know what I'm getting at?
We've seen his goals, and we've seen him score.
What I'm saying is, if we're going to not going to do that, then maybe we look at another striker. I don't know.
And he feeds off of quick transitions, and a player who can find players who can find them in space and between defenders.
And that's a change in mindset because right now, when we should be doing fast transition, some of our players are happy to go back to the goalkeeper and reset and try this thing again, as opposed to what you have. Like the reason why you catch people out is because you take advantage when they make a mistake in midfield, right? And then instead of not wanting to attack, it's not going to play out every time, but you have to try it. We were more likely going to go to the safe route and then try to build up into an attack on people, and it's like, nah. When they make a mistake, they leave the ball in midfield for you. You take it and you attack them. We don't do that right now.
Yeah.
It also seemed like
100%.
every time David Raya decided not to play ping pong around the goal area of the defenders and fullbacks, when he did play it long from a goal kick, it seemed to me that he always went left. Always went left. He never tried to go right. And I said to myself, well, if you see that a few times in the game, I mean, if you're clever enough in the opposition, you know what's going to happen, right? If you're it's going to hoof it, it's going left. I'm going to get right onto Martinelli.
PSG are a good team, or formidable team, but we can hang with PSG, and we can be there. Go through a couple of starred.
We haven't spoken about.
What?
We kind of went part. We haven't spoken about.
No, we're going to get back to that, right? We're going to get to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Darren said, "I'm actually proud of Arteta. All of the doubt people threw at him, yet he stayed and carried on, and he's put us."
Who's not going to stay when Hey, Stan. You want to take over this? You want to continue to
Darren,
coach for Arsenal, or do you
be
want
nice to
like
Darren.
have 15 mil a year for you? Is that something you might be
I'm
okay with?
staying. You're going to have to fire me, and then I leave with a big package, right? I'm not walking away from it. Come on.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying, though, right?
No,
I know.
for me, I'm Arsenal in. If they think, once again, if they think he's the one, they better treat him like he's the one, right? And when he
Give
said,
him.
if he said
Third
I
fight,
wanted,
third
if he
fight
said I
place,
wanted
everyone.
somebody, no, if he said I wanted somebody in January, they should have went and got somebody in January for him. If supposedly, he is the one for them. I don't
Ollie.
they didn't back him up, right? They
Yeah.
didn't back him up. They didn't back him up supposedly. Maybe the whole Ollie Watkins thing wasn't a thing, but you're telling me you knew you needed Jesus
And
was out, then we lost Havertz,
But do
right?
you think that all that fumbling in January, which it felt like a big fumble, was because we didn't have a sporting director as well?
exactly. Bertha came
I
after.
don't think
It's going to be
so because
it's going to be very interesting this summer. We've got the first big window coming up, which
I think so.
obviously we've been told that we've got a load of dough, and now we've got this Andrea Berta, who I don't know much about, but I know the team that he's come from, and you can look at some of the signings that they've made, which he must have been involved in. It's going to be interesting to see how they pull this off, right? If we've got the money, then as I say, who we're going to get? How much influence does Mikel have, Berta? Because the talk is that Berta's really strong in Gyökeres, really, really strong in him. Yep. But then I read an article just yesterday saying that it was almost a done deal with him and United. I was going, it's got to be clickbait.
I was just going to ask you,
come on, why is anyone going? Okay, he knows the manager, but it's like, mate, you're managing. Look at where your team is. Why would you go there?
Why? Well, the only reason why there's two reasons why you would go there, because it's Manchester United, whether we like it or not, and because of the manager. That's the only two reasons. You have a better chance. You have a better chance of winning something. I know Arsenal haven't done it in the last few years, but you do have a better chance of winning things with Arsenal and with this team right
in
now.
The top two, one of the fourth better teams in Europe, improved upon the last time the last competition. We're on the up.
Yeah.
You see that we bring in young players.
Why? So
go in London. We're going to pay you. Obviously, a wage will be agreed that you'll be happy with. I mean, it's a good opportunity. A forward-thinking manager that's got a lot of, a good lot of stuff going about it. Why wouldn't you want to go to Arsenal?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? And it's one thing I had to face up to today when I looked at the Europa League.
United now.
When I looked at the Europa League, we've got a big decision to make here. It could potentially be Manchester United versus Tottenham in the Europa League final. The winner gets a trophy, gets dough to spend, and they get a Champions League place for next season. Who do you want to win that one, Gary?
No one. Where is Bain and what he does for football stadiums? That's what I want to know.
Okay.
That's that's disgusting. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I mean,
3-1 and 3-0
the way the games went today, I'm like, one of them is in a position to win a trophy.
You can hardly see Bodo Glimt.
And the only thing that will make it any better is if we go out on Wednesday and we get into the finals.
Come on, Bodo Glimt. Come on.
Good team.
Win it. Win it all. Yeah, that's a tough one, Stan. That's a tough one.
Bodo Glimt, fortress at their ground. Fortress.
Ange Postecoglou, who always wins trophies in his second season.
That's the reason why I want Man United to win. For him to say that, and obviously it's them. Why would we want them to break that hoodoo? I'd love them to get to a final and not win it.
I want to keep Manchester United.
It's not a big one.
I want to keep Manchester United down.
No, for me, it's got to be Tottenham. No, we don't win a trophy. I mean, why would you want them to? All the banter jokes, all the memes, it always ends on a 0, and it's to do with Tottenham not having anything. That's all gone, man.
But think about it. Think about this. So United has won what? An FA Cup,
Yeah.
a
Carabao Cup.
Carabao Cup, and then you're saying, okay, now they can win a Europa League
Yeah.
Cup,
Over
and like
Tottenham, but you're asking me over
I
these two
just,
teams.
it's not a good look for what we're trying to do on our side.
Have you not seen
And
Charlie Chocolate? Was it the Willy
I
Wonka
don't
when he
want either of
you
them to
get
win.
nothing?
That's the thing.
3 trophies in 3 years, says BX Gunner. That's what
Mm.
United would have done. I'm
Yeah,
slightly
so
favouring
what?
Ange.
So
Ange is
what?
not such a. Here's
I
the
don't
here's
want
the here's the
I
good
don't
thing,
care
right?
about really.
Listen, hear me out. Ange Postecoglou wins. Tottenham keep him as manager. They lose another 20 games next season, and they don't
Gonna
go
fire
far
him
in the
anyway.
Bundesliga.
We're talking about Daniel Levy, who fires managers before cup finals. He's out, whether he wins, loses, or draws. And the fact
I
that he
think
went,
if he wins the
fact that-
Europa League, he stays.
the fact that he got mouthy and was like, "Oh, I was in something. Come on, second season. I want to see egg on his face," and it's them. I don't. I like them having that zero. I love that
Yeah.
banner. I don't want them to break
All
that
right.
duck.
But Stan, this could be a re-emergence of Manchester United.
That's for another day. That it
Okay.
really is for another day. But right
Okay.
now, I don't want Tottenham. I want them. Like I saw someone, there was like a meme where it was like Liverpool were changing something on the stadium and putting up 2-0 because they've won 20,
Yeah.
league cups now.
Yeah.
And as a person was putting up the 0, someone wrote in the comments, they borrowed that 0 from Tottenham. So if they win something, things like that are gone. And I like stuff like that. It brightens my day.
Yeah. Okay. I actually see Manchester United as more deadly rivals. Tottenham are the team that never really
Oh, of course they are, but
troubled us.
it's really good to look at Tottenham just going.
Yes,
Put
it's
the
but
bus back in the garage. It's not happening. Put the bus
it
back.
it is an uncomfortable thought if you're an Arsenal fan. It's an uncomfortable
Oh,
thought.
we'll be knee deep in DVDs and all that stuff, and
All right. I just thought we'd talk about that for a second. It could be an uncomfortable watch. Red John had said, don't forget, PSG are the biggest battle jobs in the Champions League history. They conceded 6 against Barcelona in the biggest comeback. That's when Unai Emery was Paris Saint-Germain's manager 5 or 6 years ago, before Arsenal. But they still, so the psychology of the second leg, if we plant some seeds, and we, as Gary thinks, and I think, and probably Stan thinks as well, we keep it very tight at the back. We go in 0-0 at halftime. Maybe we even grab a goal before halftime, and let's not forget, this could go into extra time as well. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. We win 1-0 at 90, and it's 1-1.
hope it don't go to a penalty
extra time.
shootout. That would be it, mate. Heart attack.
Penalty. Yeah, I
Not only that, but they have to bet a goalkeeper for
No
stopping.
way. I
PK,
wouldn't
so-
live through a penalty shootout.
Yeah.
penalty shootout to go to the Champions
I
League
need to have
final.
a defibrillator with me. Let me ask you guys a question, right?
Would you take it now, though?
If we finish second in the league and we
Yeah.
go out in the semi-final, we don't win against PSG,
Yeah.
would you keep the manager
Yes.
next season? Gary?
Yes. But he's got to have the striker in the summer.
Gary?
And
you-
we have to think about it. I mean, I'm not like
Think about it.
like I said, I'm Arsenal.
Gary, get off that fence.
You
No,
got to think about it.
yeah, I got to
Yeah,
think of it. If they're not going to support him, then no.
You got to think
Like,
about it.
How long do you need to think about it?
I'm just telling you. You ask me a question, I tell you. All right. I
Yeah.
don't. If they're going to keep him, they better back him up. If they're
How
not
long
going
do
to
you
back
need?
him up, then let somebody else come in and do hopefully a better job.
One more question. How long do you need to think about it?
I just told you.
I found this on the web.
I just told you why it's going to take a
What
while.
do you find on the web? How long Gary's got to think about it?
If they're not going to back him up, then he has to go because he's not going to get.
Excellent.
He's not going to do better with what he has.
Okay.
So if we're not going to get for example, say Isak's out of the question, Gukres
All right,
doesn't want
let
to
me ask
come,
you another. Okay, let me rephrase.
Osman doesn't want to come.
Let me
What is
rephrase
it?
the question. Right, we
Mm.
finish second in the league, and we lose the Champions League final to whoever. We get to the final, but we don't win. Do you keep him?
The same
Do you think
answer.
Would you
Nothing
think,
needs
would
to
you
change.
think that if he's given a few more quid, he could get us over the line. Are you like, no, that's it. You've had long enough. You're done. I'm done with you. Is there? Do you know what I mean? Because some people feel like that.
Listen, if we, I'll take this one. If we had not had the extensive injuries that we had this season, we had fully fit players similar to what Liverpool have had this season, and we did not win anything.
We
this
had
season.
that 2 seasons ago. It didn't work, right?
2 seasons ago was against
our last
City.
season, whatever you want
It
to
was
call it.
against Man City.
Yeah,
And
well,
Liverpool
you know what?
are not Man City.
Well,
No, you know what? It don't matter. No,
It does
no,
matter.
no,
You
no.
try to shut me down,
we
but
we,
it does
we
matter.
never had to beat City in any of the 3 seasons that we played to win the league. We've never had to do it. So to say it's because of City, no.
City are
Think about
not.
it. Think about it.
Liverpool are not City.
The first time we finished second, all we had to do was win every game we had going into that game. We would have finished in the top 5. You know what we did? We drew, and then basically killed any hope of getting top top uh top 4. Right, the next season, right, we start off strong. Everybody's like, wow, this is great. What are we doing? We're just running. Nobody can stop us. Second half of the
Yeah.
season,
Yeah.
disappear. Next season we start off slow. Oh man, what's going to happen here? Finish strong, and we need to put a whole 38 game season together, and we're not able to do that with what we have right now. So if he's had 3 tries at it, and at some point injuries and suspensions we're going to catch up. I've been saying that, and guess what? It's happened, right? We can't expect our center backs to play together
We've been unlucky.
for 30 plus games. No, but you know what? You're playing with fire if you expect all of your players to be there. No, we never planned for what you need to plan for, which is to have a squad.
Let me just say this.
You're not winning. We're not winning with 11, 12 players. That's not going to happen.
Gary, last season we got 89 points. If we were last season and Man City had the injury crisis they fell away and were fighting Liverpool last season, we would have beaten Liverpool last season. Yes.
No. Look, if you look, I could look at the season now because we're not going to win it. It's technically, league-wise finished. And if I look at why we didn't win it, I look at 2 things: the things that we didn't have control of, and the things that we did have control of. And the things that we didn't have control of was the over-reffing by the PGMOL, which is a factor. We've already discussed on the podcast about the letter that was sent to them at the beginning of the season from other teams saying that we've been hoodwinking them, that you need to watch Arsenal, blah, blah, blah. We've been over-reffed. We've seen some decisions that even people that usually would love to dig into Arsenal are looking at it and going, well, I've never seen a card given for that before. I've never seen a player sent off for that before. This is strange. We've seen that a lot, right? That's out of our control. Other things out of our control, I would also say, is that we had some bad injuries that kind of affected us. We lost 2 strikers out of the 2 strikers that we had. We had to rejig Mikel Merino to play in there. Saka was out for quite a lot, a length of time. Odegaard went out, came back, and has never been the same. And now we're without Gabriel Megalegs. So again, those are the 2 things that I think that are out of our control why we lost the league. The things that are in our control of why we lost the league is the last 2 transfer windows. The luxury spending on Calafiori, when we already had enough people. We didn't know that Tomiyasu was going to get injured, but on paper, we had enough people for those positions. And it was quite obvious that we were missing something in more of an attacking sense. But no, we went and spent 40, 45 million on another defender. And then in the January transfer window, when it was, obvious that we were down players and we were trying to fight for the league, we knew that Man City were kind of getting out of the race. We could maybe do something against a manager who had his first season in the league with a team that he inherited, where he didn't get a load of money to spend anything with. Maybe we could have done something in January, even if it wasn't Ollie Watkins, and it meant like, okay, well, that's some of the Isak money gone now. but we're thinking of today. We're thinking of winning this league today, not next season.
Yeah.
Again, I think that area is where we didn't have any control of. Sorry, we did have control of because we had the money.
Yeah.
We didn't have the will. We had the resources to do it, but for whatever reason, whether it was because we were missing that loop where a dude would fit in to do deals, I don't know. It just felt like we didn't have the will, and it really hurts to see that. That could cost us now getting to a Champions League final because we're kind of flying on the seat of our pants with the way that we're doing it. Nico Marino has no right to be doing what he's doing.
Declan Rice, 2 free kicks.
Exactly. How long will this last? How long can we do this? We could have made it so much easier for ourselves if we'd just done something in the summer and made it a little bit more self-assured. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah. It's brilliant. Beating Real Madrid 5-1 in aggregate is brilliant. Beating them at the Emirates, beating them in Madrid is brilliant. I've heard some people say my nephew, he said, you've beaten the worst Real Madrid team in existence. I don't think that's quite true. I think
they spent on these players. They're not
they had some quality.
Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham was not one of the worst players.
Vinicius Jr. I think it was just shade at the end of the day, I think it was. But
Mbappe.
In a season where you beat Real Madrid, in a season where you beat Real Madrid in the Champions League, you need to get to the final. You need to have a great chance of winning it. And we need to be a little bit more cavalier next Wednesday as well. Iconoclast said, BX, he's proven this last point here, Gary, is important. He's proven he's not the man he had to get a striker and decided against it, but got himself a new contract. And here's the part I think is interesting. The injuries are a product of a squad that isn't put together properly. The injuries came because we've been moving players around to cover for certain situations. I think there's something in that.
Gary said it perfectly. It's like chess pieces, right?
Yeah. I believe the manager being stubborn and a slow learner cost us. BX Gunner is down on Arteta right now, and Arteta needs to prove something to all of us. He isn't stubborn. He's doing the best he can. Okay.
You ever seen one of those puzzles? It's usually like a square piece of wood, and you've got some tiles in there that make a picture. And there's one hole that's missing, and it enables you to move it around to try and make the picture. That kind of feels like what happens when we have one player that goes out. We start moving all these pieces around. When it's like, why don't we just plug something in there?
I hope it's a Champions League trophy.
If it's Thomas Partey and Jorginho's not there,
could be Thomas Partey.
And you want to keep, for example, you don't want to mess up with the nice, cool run that Declan Rice seems to be in at the moment. Let's keep that. That seems to be nice. Let's not, as Gary said, let's not drag Mourinho out from what he's doing up there because we never counted on it. But fuck me, it's working. And let's hope that keeps going. Why don't we do something? We've got a plethora of left backs. We've got more left backs than we know what to do. They're falling out of our pockets at the moment. Why don't we move Skelly, who seems to be dominant and non-caring and nonchalant and has the strength? Why don't we move him out there and say, if it goes wrong, we could always move him back and do something. But no, we'll just move all the tile pieces around to try and get something else. And you're you're doing that in the semi-final. The competition we've been in since 2009. Come on, man. And then you're making substitutions in the 85th minute. And as we said, it drives me mad. What am I going to do now? I'm going to put on a right back for a right back. It's like, what?
Let's push the boat next Wednesday. Prayers I enter knockout Barcelona. Don't want Barca. I know Gary's going to say focus on beating PSG first and come what may. But I do think Inter might be
we have a defense that can hold up against most teams. That'll give us a chance to win any game, and it has all season.
Yeah.
No matter how many injuries we had, no how many situations we've been in, we've had a defense that's held it together. I mean, look at all the games we played. Nobody's running away from us, right? Yeah. Nobody's running away from us in a lot of these games because our defense
we stay in it.
It makes it hard to score on us, regardless of whether they get the chances or not. It's really hard to score on us. So,
and something that we almost scored a goal on with that free kick. We do have the ability with set pieces, and I think that might be a vulnerability of PSG's. And they've taken Liverpool and Man City and Aston Villa down in pretty comprehensive fashion. They've given us one belt to the face with a goal deficit so far, but no knockout punch just yet. And then last, yeah, go ahead, Stead. Looks like you got.
I mean, there's a lot of managers that have tried to manage Dembele, and they've never been able to get the best out of him for whatever reason. This manager seems to be getting the best out of him, and he's put him into a position. And we're complaining about our manager playing players out of position, but it's kind of a bit like a Mourinho thing for Dembele, who I think naturally was more of a wide player, and now they're playing him in a sort of like a withdrawn striker position, and it's working dividends for him. But I know that we're all kind of rejoicing a little bit that he went off with a hammy and might not be playing. But did you see the guy that came on for him, Ramos? Guy hit the crossbar.
Yeah.
And
Barcola
the crossbar and bounced. I mean, he didn't look like no like part timer either. I mean, I don't really watch that thing, but I was like,
Yeah, they've got some decent players. And look, I think Arsenal are the outsiders in this competition. I know it's very even right now, and I think probably Mikel Arteta's not as good a manager as the other three managers left in the competition.
And when people compare Arteta to anybody, they all have double the amount of experience that he has.
Yeah.
So it's not equal. Like people are like, people look at Slot and they're like, he's only been coaching for 5 years. No, he's been coaching for like 9 years. And whether the first couple of years weren't with a big club, it doesn't matter. It's experience that he doesn't have, right? You look at all these managers, and what did they do? They started like Pep was doing Barcelona, B or A or whatever it was before he took on the first team, right?
Yeah.
So he started somewhere. He didn't start just coaching Barcelona right away, right? You look at where Arsene Wenger came from, right? He was coaching for 10, 15 years before he got to Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
Or 10 years, right?
Doesn't work like that, does it?
But every manager that we compare Arteta to has double the amount of years. Has double amount of years on him, right? So I don't like that comparison because it never works.
Yeah.
Because when you add it all up, you're like looking, you're like, this guy hasn't just been doing it. Like you can't just count the Premier League years. You got to count the entire from day dot, right, from the beginning. Arteta's in his 6th year now of coaching.
He's not a rookie.
Yeah.
He's not a rookie, but you're comparing him to players. To managers are in their 10th. Who's in their 10th year, and if you look at there's like 1 or 2 managers that in their first 5 years are doing the things that you want Arteta to do. Nobody's doing that. So when we try to compare him with anybody, like Pep wasn't doing that, right? Arsene Wenger wasn't doing that. Ferguson wasn't doing that in their first 5 or 6 years. It's not a good comparison. And he's being like, that's why I didn't want him in the first place, because he's going to have to do things that he
I think
can't.
Pep was the anomaly.
Nobody's doing it.
I think Pep was before that.
He was managing in lower level before he took on the first team. And that's experience that you get. But not only that, but he's playing. He's coaching the top players in the world. So it's not even equal comparison. Mustafi is not anywhere near the levels that Barcelona had.
Pep, Gary, you say Pep was lower. He did manage a lower level team, but it was a Barcelona B team.
Yeah.
But it's experience that you get, all right?
Which is still probably the best team
is the best right now, but then you go look at a Slot. I brought up Slot first because that's what people are talking about.
Yeah.
Slot did not manage Barcelona's B team, all right? He managed, he worked his way up to where he got to Ajax, right?
I take both of your points. Yeah.
I have another question, right? Another question is that anytime we talk about Mikel Arteta and his achievements at Arsenal, anytime the FA Cup is mentioned, people are very quick to say, but it wasn't his team.
Yeah. I don't even care about that. I don't even care about whether it's his players or not.
But my question is, can we say the same thing with Arne Slot? because he's gone and won the league, but they only bought
If
one player, didn't they?
so-
That player didn't play.
Yeah. If you
You know,
believe that's a valid, if you believe, it depends on your stance, Stan. Depends on your stance. If you believe that it was the previous player or manager's players doing all of the legwork, then that's what you believe. It should be the same thing for both situations. But
But what I'm saying
honestly,
is, I'm just saying that, you know, when you talk about, when it's mentioned that, you know,
yeah,
that
you
Mikel
still have
Arteta
to
won an
manage.
FA Cup in his first season, there are a lot of people, some Arsenal, some not, but they're very quick to come straight in with, but that wasn't his team, that was Unai Emery's team. And they kind of like used that to take away the achievement that Mikel
The
Arteta.
manager. So for me,
So what I'm
the
saying
manager,
so what
the
I'm saying
manager
is,
has to take the helm. Yeah.
Yeah, should Arne Slot should it be the same? He's won a league, but he's done it with a team that he's inherited, right?
I give.
You know, it is the Arsenal tag. The Arsenal tag said it doesn't matter. He did it with a non-Arsenal team, so it's better. It doesn't even matter in the same situation. But also, not only that, but it's two of the biggest trophies you can win with managers who first year won a big trophy that we.
I just think that all of that, well, it wasn't his team, and I think that's bullshit.
No, that's bullshit. Because the manager has to take control of the club, has to do it day to day, has
probably
to
even
put
harder.
teams together and tactics together.
It's probably even harder because they're not your players, right? And they don't know what's going on. But you know, they want to impress. I'm just saying though, but people use that excuse to besmirch Arteta winning an FA Cup. That's the point I'm making. And
It's
I don't
like a restaurant stand. It's like what is a Michelin star restaurant, 5-star, whatever it is, right? If the guy who's running the operation leaves, someone else has to come in and maintain that level. And it's because of the abilities of the person to do it. Arteta came in and we won 5 or 6 games to win an FA Cup, but he had to institute the right system for the right players. He's got to do the same thing next Wednesday. He's got to put the right system.
But there's also something to be said of having Virgil van Dijk, Allison, and Salah on your team.
Yeah.
And Trent, and you just go through the list, right? And then all those things that he's done, right? So for me, no, I'm just talking about them winning the league, right?
I know, but you see, I'm coming from. It's like, oh, it's
but you've got, but when you've got that level of player, it's not the same. It's not a similar comparison, but you know what? It's a lot easier. I told you if you get
the biggest achievement is in one season. Do you think it's in England? Do you think it's winning the Premier League or winning the Champions League? What do you think is the biggest achievement?
I think the Champions League.
You play more games in the league. Obviously, it's 38 games. But what do you think?
Quality. You're not playing PSG, Bayern, or AC Milan every week. You're playing Southampton, Leicester,
Ipswich.
Yeah, but somebody did. They took a look at
Leeds.
They took a look at somebody took a look at and they took away the top 3. They took away the top 3 teams and the bottom 4 teams in all the big European leagues.
Yeah,
it's harder to play against the teams in England than it is in any other league. Like the amount of the goal difference between what those teams in the middle of the pack score versus what you see in other leagues, not even close. It's tougher to play in England. It is tougher to play in England. So to be able to go in and be able to win that and also compete in the Champions League is a big deal. So it's not as easy as people say. You're not playing. You're not able to just play these low end teams all the time. These low quality teams all the time.
If Arsenal are to win the Champions League, they will have had to beat Real Madrid twice, PSG over 2 legs, and either Barcelona or Inter. If we're going to win the Champions League this season,
I mean,
wow, that's not easy.
That's credentials.
Yeah.
And just out of interest, let's jump forward a little bit. Let's say we were to get to the final.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you rather face?
Inter.
And for what reason? Why?
Inter because they don't have Rafinha, Lamel,
So you want the easy route. That's what you're saying, right?
Inter will not be
That's what
easy.
I'm coming from. That's what you're
They've
saying.
given
You want the easier. That's what you're saying. You want the easier route, right?
they've given Barcelona.
They haven't
I don't
got this
think it's
guy,
easy.
They ain't got that guy. You think that
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
easier route?
What I believe is easier route. Yeah,
Gary.
I don't know. I mean I think they both I think it sucks for both cases. I think
No, Gary, please play the game. You've got to choose one. Get off the fence.
fun.
If you had to
Come on,
choose one,
don't
who
be-
would you rather us face?
I just want to make it to the final first, and then I'll worry about it.
Tony's not here, but Tony is here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to answer that question,
Tony.
because I really don't care who we
No,
play.
but seriously,
That's the
if you
thing.
had to choose, right? If I held a gun to your head and say, choose one of these teams, who would you rather play? And for what reason?
I'd rather play Barcelona
Why?
Barcelona.
because I don't think their defense is going to be. Our defense is stronger than theirs,
Point.
so if we can nullify
Good point.
their attack,
Yeah.
then
The
we gives us a
matchups.
better chance. I
Yeah.
don't think I think Inter can play those ugly games that we can't play. Right? I believe they can play those kind of games that we can't play.
Yeah.
Where it's gonna be a struggle for us to get anything out of the game because it would put pressure on us.
Good answer.
I think the fact that Barcelona scored 3 goals, but the fact that Inter scored 3 goals is promising for any team that plays Barcelona. All right.
Was that home or away to who? Who played? Who was that? Was that in Italy?
The next game is in Italy.
Yeah, they play. Inter plays home.
They already played 3-3 in Spain.
3-3. Okay.
Yeah.
So Inter's got a slight advantage there, you would think.
For me, if we were to get to the final, I'd like to face Barcelona.
For revenge.
Yeah, it's all about that
Remontada.
If seriously, if we got to the final and we beat Barcelona for the Champions League, I'd probably have to take a week off work.
Would you run down the street in some kind of clothing?
That would be for me. That would be just be like, I don't care what happens after this with Arsenal. I don't care. That would just be the best thing because that match is one match that I really hate that match.
Yeah.
And I've never watched it back, and I never will. And I would love to be able to correct that.
Come on, Tony wants to do watch along with that match.
That would be chef's kiss. That would be chef's kiss, man. To get to a
Tony
final
wants to do watch along with that.
Barcelona fair and square without any controversy, no one getting sent off. You know what I mean? And do them. That would the pinnacle. That's like getting that green jacket when they play golf. That's like, you know what I mean?
The Masters. Well done, Rory McIlroy. Well done, Rory McIlroy.
Exactly.
Good Irishman. Winning.
We talk to other fans and we can't dine at that table. We wait at that table. We say, "Are you ready for your dessert yet, sir?"
Yeah, but you know what? You know what happens next? You win one stand, and then someone will say, "Well, we got 2, or we've got 6."
You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't care because it don't matter. Then you can't come talk to us about not having won a Champions League. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't care about the count.
Yeah.
Right. I don't care about the count anymore. If that
Well,
happens,
experience barely
as they
means
say,
anything.
you're near completing football when you win that. So there you go. So nah. I don't care. Like I can't hear you. I can't see you. We got a Champions League. Who cares?
He won the Premier. Arsene Wenger won in his first full season. Yeah. Okay. He did. Red John. He did say first full season.
First full season, but we're talking about 10+ years of experience. I think it makes a difference.
Yeah, it does. It does. Tuchel won the UCL with a team that wasn't his, Lampard's team. There you go. Other managers get credit for doing these things. You got to give it to Slot, and you got to give it to Arteta at the time. So if Arteta can do it in a cup competition, an FA Cup, and now we're better, we could do it in the Champions League. You know what I mean? Ranieri won the league in his first full season. We got about another 10 minutes, Gary, and then we'll get out of here.
And Ranieri had how many years of experience? He had been coaching for like 20, 30 years or something like that, right? So
I have another question for the both of you.
Leicester City.
before we go, obviously now
You
we
want to
do have
get to the Tifo section, don't you?
Oh yeah, at that as well. But I just want to very quickly, because we do have actually now a champion of the Premier League. What's your thoughts on Liverpool, their season? You know how they won it. You know, are you saying like well done, big round of applause, or do you have questions or anything at all? What do you think of Liverpool winning the league this season?
All right, I've got to say, Liverpool did well. You got to give them credit for what they did. They only lost 2 games all season, and but the only thing that annoys me is that Arsenal did not put them under pressure at all. And I feel like Liverpool win the last time they won the Premier League was in 2019, 2020, and they won it going away.
Yeah, it was during COVID, empty stadium, wasn't it? The empty stadium.
Yeah. This time they won it going away because of Arsenal's lack of interest in January in doing anything. That's the huge disappointment I have from this season. I think if we'd have stayed between 4 and 5 points behind them, I think they would have wobbled for sure. For sure, they would have wobbled. And we have to go to Anfield. And I want to ask a question: how many guards of honors does a team have to get? Do they want guards of honor now for the rest of the season? I don't want Arsenal going to Anfield and having a guard of honor for Liverpool.
I think isn't it like the next game? I don't think it's like every other game.
The next game is this weekend, and it's Chelsea.
Oh, okay.
So it spares us.
Okay. I'm not sure how that works, to be honest, but yeah.
I don't know if Gary wants to weigh in on Liverpool's achievements. It annoys me anyway that Arsenal were not there this season again. Gary?
Yeah, no, they played a better football. You know, when we were watching them play, it was like they were comfortable out there, no matter what the scoreline was. Up one, down one, it didn't really matter. They always seemed to come through. So they played. Slot had them playing some comfortable football out there. They never seen pressed, stressed, or anything like that. No matter who he brought in, it seemed. I think one thing that he did is he had trust in everybody on his squad that he brought onto the pitch. Arteta doesn't. I think that's a little bit. That's a little bit.
It's pretty impressive, Gav. What you're saying is true. That obviously, Klopp would have had a big allegiance there for what he achieved and what they thought of him. For him to be able to come in and get everyone on side, he's not like saying, like, I'm getting rid of 5 of you and I'm going to bring in 5 people that
Gravenberch was amazing for them.
They brought in one player, didn't they? That was it, Chiesa, who didn't play. He was injured or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you must have
one other thing.
One
other thing I will say.
These players, like something like Salah, to buy into. You've got big players. You've got to buy into someone. He's gone in there, and these players have obviously bought into whatever it is he's selling.
Yeah, I will say one thing. The fixtures favored them, but they had to be good enough to beat those big teams at home first. And they just got a few draws in the away games. Nottingham Forest, places like that, they got draws. Arsenal, I think the big swing game was the Arsenal game when we played them. We were leading 2-1 up until the 80th minute. And I think things might have been a little bit different if we'd have gotten the win there. That's early though.
If we had won half of the games we drew, we'd be right there, right? So I mean, it's not like that holding on to that win there. That's a 2-point swing in our favor, right? We basically got nothing out of that one, but that's actually it's actually.
So we should address this as well. To make Arteta decent, we are questioning the fact that Liverpool are run properly and Arsenal aren't, really, fellas. I mean,
I didn't say that.
All we're saying is Arsenal didn't have the ambition to go and get a player.
I mean, it's part recruitment, it's part like coaching, it is part bad luck with injuries. It is part the way that the suspensions kind of did not, the refereeing didn't favor.
I think we chose
all of those contributed to how our season ended, and even with that, we still have a chance to finish second. So that's where, like, you change a few of those things in our favor, and maybe we have a chance. But you know what? When we don't do anything, we don't bring in additional players to support us.
Uh,
We don't maybe hold back and don't like let the referees manage the game sometimes. In certain
yeah.
situations, you know, there's different ways we could
And,
have handled it. We didn't do anything to squash some of the issues that we had coming in and to
yeah.
prepare ourselves for the worst scenarios, right?
Yeah. Did you see Leo Lamine Yamal ask Henry for a shirt? I did not. But
But hang on a minute, wasn't Thierry Henry a pundit? So what was he asking for? His white suit shirt, because he wasn't playing. So what shirt was he asking for?
Arsenal shirt, Barca shirt.
But he wasn't playing. Henry's a pundit. He'd have like a white shirt on
Yeah,
at
I
the
think
time.
he might have been interviewed afterwards, and he might have asked him. But
What, does he
if we
carry
play
around a
Barca,
suitcase? What Thierry Henry carries around a suitcase of shirts just in case, like, he doesn't play anymore. Why has he got a playing shirt? And for which team? Which team does he want a shirt for out of the teams he's playing? You know what I mean? What? That's
Monaco,
what I was thinking. Like,
Arsenal.
can I have your shirt?
Uh,
He's like, he's got a suit on with
I'll
tie.
have to
I was like,
watch.
you want this
I'll have to
shirt?
watch I'll have to watch the interview. If we beat Barcelona, both the men and women's team would have stolen 2 Champions Leagues from them.
Oh,
So
he said to post them.
congratulations to the
All right,
ladies,
he
by
said
the
to
way.
post.
Ladies are in the
Okay.
Champions League final. Hopefully the men can get there as well. Barca would shut their club down if they lost 2 Champions Leagues in 1 week. So we'll get, not quickly, but we have to cover the TIFO thing as well. Stan, you want to start that off, the TIFO?
I mean,
Uh,
I
saw
just,
your post. I
I
saw
just
your
say the
post.
same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could have probably knocked up a better design on Canva that would have looked better than that. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, a
I
couple
think
of
all
weeks
three of
ago,
us could have done something better.
couple of
Gary
weeks
did
ago,
some good stuff
a
too.
couple of weeks ago, I was at a Vancouver Whitecaps game, and they had a tifo there that people had brought in. I've never seen one at a live match before, and it looked better than the Arsenal one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was half-assed. Is that it then? That's it.
It's a
Do you know what I mean?
two-color.
So many things you could have done. You could have, just the top of my head, the last time that we won a cup in Europe, you could have had a picture of the cup, and you could have had the key players from that match, followed by the key players in the Arsenal
Of
team
ours,
now.
our
There
generation.
you go.
Yeah.
And a slogan underneath. Make it happen. There you go. That's one that they're using. There's one. You could have had a Kevin Campbell one. You could have had You could have had a Kevin Campbell. You could have had one that looked like that classic Craze picture where one's looking over the shoulder of the other one. The Craze.
Yeah.
One could have been Kevin Campbell. One could have been Rocky Rocastle.
Rocky Rocastle. Yeah.
And these are just coming off the top of my head. And what did they go with? A gold cannon on the red cloth.
Was it gold or was it white?
It was a red cloth, wasn't it? With a cannon.
White on red. Yeah.
It was just like half-assed, man. Half-assed.
Yeah.
The world is watching. The world is watching. Go big or go home.
The world is not watching, Stan. The rival fans are watching.
That's right. The world is laughing.
The
world is laughing.
They hate us because they hate us, as Gary would say. They hate us because they hate us. And their rival fans watching. Gary, did you see it? It was a green. It was a red square with a white cannon on it.
No, I did see the picture of it. I'm like, the Aspirant army probably had something much better planned than whatever you were planning.
Yeah,
it's like I want to do it, and he's like, dude, I already did it. Can we just use what I did? No, I want to do it. And I'm like, oh crap, we need to have it done by tomorrow. All right, you know what? I got something. How about we do a cannon? No. Like this is supposed to be for the fans, and what they did was this is supposed to be for them, and like they just no. I mean, it's probably why the game sucked to begin with, right? Because
all right, this is the comment of the night. I think Stan's bed sheet.
Yeah. I mean, they screwed that one up really bad. I mean, they had one chance to get this right, and they screwed it up. Man. Like, I think I think basically what they were trying to say is no, we don't want the fans to have to participate in this. Like, no. The reason why you are making any money is because of the fans. Let them bring something to the table as well. Like
exactly. You know what they could have? Do you know what they could have done? They could have said, we're going to have a competition for a TIFO, and out of the ones that we receive, we're going to pick 5. And the 5 that we pick, come to the website and you choose something. Just get everyone engaged. Do you know what I'm getting at? So you have someone doing it, we're choosing. It just creates a little bit of a buzz. What do they do? Yeah, just put a cannon on the red. It's just, come on.
Yeah.
And
And it wasn't our home cry for me
the one
either.
thing that sucked about it as well is like you're listening to the game, and then they pan over and they show you the PSG fans, and you know what I heard for the rest of the game? The PSG fans with their drums going, and I'm like, what the world is going on here?
Players bad off the stand.
They're on the road, and their fans are doing what? And it's like, no, they really are not for the fans, man. They're not for the fans.
Yeah. Listen, if Alonso's going to appear, it's about the time.
We're in that window.
We are in that window. 5 minutes.
I was going to exercise, but now I'm feeling.
The stewards are circling the stadium as we speak, ripping down the tifo. Yeah, it was a ridiculous tifo. I think we can all imagine how it should have looked, how it could have looked, and it would have been so much better. Any one of us could do something so much better than a basic red background. Red background and I know, red background and a white. You've even got like AI right now that can help you with this stuff.
I mean, it's all there for you. It's all there. The tools are there, man. I mean,
so anyway, anything else to add before we get out of here? I mean, huge game next Wednesday, Bournemouth. What are we concerned at all about? I never looked down the league all season. I'm not going to start looking below us now. Are we concerned about our league position? I'm not.
No, but I mean, what I do want to see is that we go out there and we perform. I've said it all the time. I don't really care about the results sometimes if they don't go out there and perform.
Yeah.
We've been going out there and not performing at all. Like the last match, I don't think anybody wanted to be out there. And I think if Arteta saw that, he should have said, well, then you're not playing. He won't do that.
The last game, 1-1, was it?
He's just going to force them out there to play. And it's like, if you can tell they don't want to be there because their mind is somewhere. Like, supposedly, Gabriel's head was turned. So guess what we did? We sat him out. Right now, these players' heads are turned because they don't really care about the league anymore, right? They care about the Champions League. You know what?
Yeah,
put somebody else out there and let them have a chance. I mean, and Weary didn't even start in the last match. Are you kidding me? Sterling is playing. Come on, that's.
I had a little. I was in Ireland. I had a little tipple. I had a little tipple. I had a little bet. The bet's read like this: both teams to score, but Arsenal to win. It was 11-4. The bet was, and it was happy enough until the 83rd minute, with Arsenal. But there you go. Yeah. So it really doesn't. Let me see what the table looks like. It really doesn't matter for me. I don't think Newcastle is catching us. I don't think City's catching us. There's 5 points in Newcastle and 6 points to City. And that's it. That's all she wrote. We're going to be second best or first loser, whatever way you want to call it, in the league. The best league probably in the world, the most competitive one. And we're going to be hopefully better than the top 4 in Europe. And we'll know next Wednesday where we are in that sense. So listen, we'll give you a chance to get out of here. Who wants to go first? Say their goodbyes.
I'll be very quick.
Okay.
Look, first of all, thanks for having me on. Good to chat to the both of you. Everyone that came and joined us in the chat as well. Thanks for coming in. But looking ahead at what probably our biggest game, I still think that looking at what I saw this team do over 2 legs with Real Madrid, I didn't know we had that in us. I didn't know that we could do that, especially away from home as well. And that's just given me hope and, like, something to hold on to, that we can pull a similar kind of a performance out in France. Because, I think that we've got to the stage now where, bright lights don't sort of like phase us anymore. Bright lights, big city, we're kind of like, we feel that we belong. And that performance, I think, can do a lot to a team. And it's going to be a flying by the seat of our pants. And I'm always going to have in the back of my mind, which Gary's also mentioned, and you've also mentioned, that had we just maybe done something in the last window, it might be a little bit more comfortable. So I'm crossing my fingers, I'm crossing my legs. I hope and I believe, and I look forward to speaking to you guys again after the event, or whatever we're going to be picking the bones out of.
Quick score prediction. I hate to do this because we don't know.
Prediction?
2-0.
No, I'm going to go with 2-1.
2-1 extra time.
Maybe.
Okay.
I've got to go for the win. I've got to go with my heart.
2-1 on the night. 2-1 on the night for a 2-2 aggregate.
I definitely don't want to go to a penalty shootout. I just don't think that I'd live through it.
Yeah, it's good. It would be mental for Arsenal and our European.
Two great keepers, right? Two good keepers as well that are capable. So it was just
Listen, David Raya did not David Raya do it last season as well? Gary.
Yep. Thank you everybody for joining. It's been cool hanging out with you, Ray.
Yeah,
and Stan, chatting about that stuff. Like I said, it's all for me is about performances this weekend. Hopefully, I'm hoping that Nweri gets a start and shows Arteta what he's been missing. I hope Ben White and Zinchenko and somebody else needs to get. There's 4 players. What were 4? I missed the 4th player, but I hope some of our players get this.
Skelly, you're going to give Skelly a rest?
Oh, unless you move Skelly into the midfield, that's the only way I would see not playing him, give him some minutes there. Just maybe give everybody a thought of what we might do. But I think we need to we need to have a different plan than we had the last time. I think we were at least in our pocket. So I'm hoping to see that this weekend, maybe with the way we play, and then get ready to play. I want comfortable. So comfortable for me would have to be a 3-1 match. I don't want to. No, I don't.
3-2 aggregate. That would not be comfortable still.
No, 3. If we win 3-1, then that's.
Oh, so you're saying win 3-0 in France, or be winning 3-0?
I'm saying we win the game 3-1. Yeah.
In front.
Yeah, we're up
3-2.
We're up 3-0. We're up 3-0 and they score late.
Love that. Would love that.
So or we maintain the 2-goal lead that we need. Throughout the match. So that's kind of what I would like to see. We got defense needs to stand up, and we need to put pressure on them, and like I said, quiet that stadium. So I know we can do that. So that's what I'm looking for from us.
Yeah.
We've got basically a match and a half or 2 matches basically to get to do something big. These players should I expect what the energy that Rice brings in every match. I expect to see that from everybody.
Odegaard does not look like he's getting any better, does he? Odegaard, what's the gamble on this? It's a gamble, isn't it? I mean, it really is concerning. And I've been trying to hold out as long as I can.
Big gamble right now.
It's like every time I'm putting out a bucket of water, there's another hole appearing in the hole. And, I don't know what to do. It's glaringly a problem.
It's an easy. I always say the toughest problems can be solved with the easiest of answers, and we don't want to do it. These answers are, what? Maybe he can't play for us. Maybe we have to play somebody else in his position. Maybe somebody that can give us a little bit more. I'd rather, for whatever he brings, I'd rather try somebody who gives me the opposite of what he brings in terms of he'll bring defensive stability and pressing and all that stuff. And I'm like, what about if somebody who does does the same kind of puts a lot of defenses under pressure with their attack, with their offensive mind, right? So we need to do something. You need to do something about that. I don't know. He is right now. When you look at their squad, he's probably it's relative, right? He's our worst player on the pitch.
Yeah.
He's our worst
Yeah.
player on the pitch. Like Kirior has come in there and like he's given us what we need, right?
Different.
Like, and every day, every game, we're saying, all right, this is the one. Like, all right, this is the game. Okay, Erdogan, you need to come in. We're not gonna have Partey, so we're gonna need a little bit more from the midfield from you. And he don't bring anything. And
Yeah.
if he can't bring anything, and we keep forcing him out there, then that's on the manager. So the player
Yeah.
looks bad. Like if I'm Arteta, if I'm no Arteta, if I'm Erdogan, I'm like you're making me look bad, coach. You're forcing me out there, and I can't do this.
Yeah.
Or you're asking me to do things. Why don't you get me to do the things I can do instead of forcing me to do things I can't?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like one of the two. One of the two has to be the answer, right?
Yeah.
He either has been forced to do. He's been forced to do what he can, or he shouldn't even be out there. You gotta pick and
Well,
choose what you do.
it's been.
Like he did, like Arteta did everything he could to get Jacques onto the pitch, right? And
Yeah. He's
he's
got to lose that a
the same
little
thing.
bit. He's got to lose that a little bit. He does that with some of the players. Listen, I really enjoyed tonight with both of you. Hope Gary, no, hope Tony is okay. Um, and again, once again, a nice touch from Stan earlier for Mr. Tom.
Yeah.
Let's hope for the best for Mr. Tom. Won't go into details, but just keep him. Say a little prayer for the guy.
Given your thoughts, yeah.
It's not as worrying as you might think, but there's a reason to keep him in your thoughts. Okay. I think players come in and out of form, and it's different times of the season. Odegaard, I don't know what to do with him. I think we know who he is right now, and Arteta maybe should be careful in that respect. One other thing that's striking, you want your season to go into May, and here we are on the 1st of May, but the Champions League final is the last day in May. So let's hope we get to the Champions League final and keep this season moving forward for another game or two, right? And so we're still talking about Arsenal into June, and then spend the money, right, Stan? Right, Gary? Spend the money. Once again, thank you for being here with me tonight. Really enjoyed it, and we are out of here. Come on, the Arsenal. Slap a like on the video. Go check out Gary on Mondays, Saturdays, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.